Scientists reveal that 100 stars mysteriously disappeared. It has long been understood that the vast number of stars scattered across the cosmos are not eternal. While they may shine for billions of years, their lifespans are finite, ultimately leading to their transformation or demise. However, stars do not simply vanish without a trace. When a star reaches the end of its life cycle, it either collapses into a white dwarf, explodes in a supernova, or becomes a black hole, leaving behind visible remnants that astronomers can detect. That is why researchers were left astounded when they discovered that at least 100 stars had mysteriously disappeared without explanation. Scientists working with the vanishing and appearing sources during a century of observations compared images of the night sky taken over 70 years ago with recent photographs. Given that stars have lifespans measured in billions of years, researchers expected little to no variation between the historical images and modern-day observations. Yet, to their surprise, they found that 100 stars, once clearly visible, had disappeared entirely. These findings, published in the Astronomical Journal, pose a perplexing question. What could cause stars to vanish without any trace? Traditional astrophysics dictates that the disappearance of a star should be accompanied by a detectable event such as a supernova explosion or the formation of a black hole. However, none of the usual signs were found in the case of the missing stars. If these celestial bodies had undergone a known stellar death, astronomers would have observed residual radiation, an expanding cloud of debris, or gravitational disturbances. The complete absence of such evidence suggests that an entirely new and unknown phenomenon could be at play. There are several theories as to what might have caused these disappearances. One of the more conventional explanations is that the missing objects were not actually stars, but rather short-lived bursts of light, possibly from transient astronomical events. Some researchers suggest that what appeared to be stars in the older images could have been flares from distant objects, such as brown dwarfs or neutron stars, which shone brightly for a brief period before fading from view. However, this explanation does not entirely fit, as many of the missing stars had stable brightness levels in multiple past observations. Another theory proposes that these missing stars might be the result of an unknown cosmic event. Some astronomers speculate that the stars could have undergone a direct collapse into black holes, a process that, while theoretically possible, has never been observed in such numbers. If true, this discovery could revolutionize our understanding of stellar evolution, suggesting that some stars can bypass the supernova stage and simply disappear without any observable aftermath. Perhaps the most intriguing hypothesis comes from researchers involved in the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. Some experts propose that these missing stars could be linked to advanced alien civilizations harnessing stellar energy on an immense scale. One possibility is that extraterrestrial beings have constructed massive structures, such as Dyson spheres, to encase entire stars and capture their energy. Dyson spheres, first theorized by physicist Freeman Dyson, are hypothetical megastructures that could allow a civilization to collect all of a star's energy output, rendering it invisible to observers on Earth. If such structures exist, they could account for why these stars have vanished without any detectable explosions or collapses. Although the alien hypothesis may sound speculative, researchers argue that intelligent extraterrestrial life would likely be difficult to detect and could engage in large-scale engineering projects beyond human comprehension. If these missing stars are indeed evidence of alien activity, it would be one of the most significant discoveries in human history. However, without further evidence, this theory remains speculative. To further investigate these missing stars, researchers have been meticulously analyzing the data. By cross-referencing old images with new surveys, astronomers aim to confirm whether these objects were truly stars or something else entirely. The painstaking process of reviewing over 24,000 discrepancies has helped narrow down the findings to 100 confirmed missing light sources. These objects were not simple imaging artifacts, but genuine celestial bodies that have vanished from the night sky. Despite this progress, the mystery remains unsolved. The missing stars continue to challenge scientific understanding, and more research is needed to determine what caused their disappearance. Future studies may involve using more advanced telescopes, such as the James Webb Space Telescope, to search for any remaining traces of these objects. astronomers may also explore alternative explanations, such as changes in the interstellar medium or unknown cosmic phenomena that have yet to be discovered. If researchers can determine what caused these stars to vanish, the implications could be profound. Whether the explanation lies in an undiscovered astronomical process or the presence of advanced extraterrestrial civilizations, the findings could reshape humanity's understanding of the universe. For now, the missing stars remain one of the most baffling astronomical mysteries of our time, leaving scientists eager for further discoveries that may one day provide the answers they seek. The mysterious case of Chan Yin Lam. The mysterious case of Chan Yin Lam remains one of Hong Kong's most controversial and widely debated incidents. Her disappearance and subsequent passing in September 2019 took place during a time of intense political unrest, fueling speculation and distrust among the public. Officially ruled as a non-suspicious case by authorities, many protesters and members of the public questioned whether the truth had been deliberately concealed. On September 19, 2019, Chan was last seen leaving a group of friends in Mei Fu at approximately 2:15 in the afternoon. She messaged her friends, stating she was heading home, but this would be the last communication she ever made. After failing to reappear, her friends put out a missing persons alert, and her family reported her disappearance to the police on September 21st. Surveillance footage from her school later revealed that Chan left the campus barefoot and walked towards the waterfront on the same day she went missing. The unusual circumstances of her last known movements only added to the mystery surrounding her case. During the search for Chan, MTR station cleaners found a mobile phone and some stationery near an exit of TIU Keng Leng station. The phone logs helped authorities identify Chan's family, who retrieved the lost items 2 days later. However, this discovery provided little insight into what had happened to her. On the morning of September 22nd, a fisherman noticed what appeared to be an object floating approximately 100 meters from the coast near Devil's Peak. Police were dispatched to the area and confirmed that the individual found was that of a female. Initially, authorities estimated the victim to be between 25 and 30 years old, with long blonde hair and a medium build. It was not until October 9th that police officially identified the individual as 15-year-old Chan Yin Lam. The police originally sought a court warrant on September 27th, stating that she was silenced. However, within a few days, authorities declared that no suspicious circumstances were involved. According to the police, preliminary results indicated that Chan had likely drowned and that no physical evidence of foul play had been discovered. Given her reported history of health struggles, authorities suggested that she may have done this to herself. One of the most significant points of contention was that Chan had been an accomplished swimmer, making it difficult for some to believe she had drowned unintentionally. The lack of immediate and transparent evidence only intensified speculation, with many believing her demise was not an accident, but rather an orchestrated cover-up. The timing of her disappearance coincided with the height of the 2019 Hong Kong protests, leading to accusations that she had been targeted by authorities due to her alleged involvement in the demonstrations. The rapid shift in the police's categorization of her case, combined with public distrust in government institutions, gave rise to numerous theories. Many protesters and anti-government activists speculated that Chan had been silenced to send a message or suppress dissent. Others pointed to the lack of transparency in the investigation, fueling concerns that critical evidence had been withheld. Further complicating the situation was the stance taken by Chan's mother, who publicly supported the police's findings. Her acceptance of the official narrative led many protesters to suspect that she had been coerced or bribed into compliance. As tensions grew, some activists began to harass Chan's mother, accusing her of being complicit in covering up her daughter's case. The police responded by arresting individuals who were involved in these accusations, adding another layer of controversy to an already complex case. A coroner's inquest was eventually held to determine the official cause of Chan's passing. However, after reviewing the available evidence, Magistrate Ko Wai-hung ruled an open verdict, meaning there was insufficient evidence to determine what had actually happened to her. To this day, the mysterious case of Chan Yin Lam remains a subject of debate. Astronaut encounter with unknown aerial object. Considered to be one of the highest quality images of a borderline paranormal or extraterrestrial entity, a bizarre encounter with an unexplainable aerial object was recorded by crew members on board the shuttle mission STS-115, one of the first space shuttle missions following the NASA Columbia disaster, following only the STS-114 mission. According to the official NASA report, while astronauts were conducting a series of experiments on the STS-115, they would suddenly encounter an unexplainable object that would get into a perfect matching orbit with the International Space Station, seemingly following them with perfect speed. Although today NASA claims that the object was nothing more than unidentified space debris, the NASA online files and claims from the ground crew and astronaut crew tell a different story. From the start, it almost seemed as if the STS-115 space shuttle mission was doomed to failure due to a series of unlucky events that would lead to the mission being pushed back in launch on more than 2 separate occasions. Oddly enough, as the deadline would soon approach, NASA would have to push back the launch a few more weeks after issues with a suddenly formed tropical storm, referred to as Tropical Storm Ernesto, would risk the safety of the space shuttle's expected flight path. Although the National Aeronautics and Space Administration had planned for the mission to resume sometime in early September, once the weather had cleared adequately enough to guarantee a safe launch, NASA's Mission Control was shocked to witness one of the strangest damages to their space shuttle launch pad ever recorded. It would be on the 19th of September, however, that the success of the mission would be called into question when the crew of the STS-115 and the International Space Station would report a bizarre and unexplainable sighting. According to astronauts Christopher Ferguson, Jeffrey Williams and Daniel Burbank, while working on the tests of the reaction control system, they would claim to see what they described as a strange object moving in a co-orbital path that matched directly with the orbiter a few meters away from the International Space Station. Unlike typical space debris of clumps of space ice, which are often moving at speeds and trajectory not matching the International Space Station, the unidentified object appeared to have been perfectly coupled with the space shuttle and space station's movement, as if the object had been a part of the same trajectory, a behavior completely atypical of random space debris. Given the matching movements, the team of astronauts believed that the only adequate explanation of the object could have been possible unidentified small debris from their space shuttle. Scared that their craft may have been damaged and lead to a risky return flight, astronaut Jeffrey Williams and Christopher Ferguson would ask Mission Control to confirm the safety of their trip and the origin of the strange object. Although NASA's original response to the team was that the object was not being picked up by radar of any kind and was most likely some form of ice, the astronauts would press the issue further after using an onboard TV camera and would take several pictures of the bizarre object while still on board the Space Shuttle Atlantis. NASA would later save the image with the following caption. The crew informed the Mission Control Center later in the day that, following the test of the reaction control system, an object was seen moving in a co-orbital path with the orbiter. The astronauts spotted the object using an onboard TV camera, but unfortunately the resolution of the images was not high enough to identify the object. Given the shape of the object, Mission Control became concerned that the unidentified material was artificial in nature. Believing the sighting to have been more than a misidentification of ice or typical space debris, Mission Control would ask for the astronauts to send the administration the images for further analysis by the flight controllers. Initially, NASA engineers claimed that the object could have come from the Space Shuttle Atlantis and would attempt to confirm the object's origins by comparing the shape to any mission-critical components. Unfortunately, after several hours of research, NASA engineers were not any closer to understanding the origins of the object, and so would choose to delay the landing by another day to use the next 24-hour period to manipulate the shuttle's robotic arm in order to get footage of the exterior of the craft and inspect any signs of possible damage, as Mission Control had been worried that the object could have been a damaged tile from the orbiter's thermal protection system. Even more peculiar, several hours later in the day, when astronauts were tasked with visually locating the mysterious object, they soon realized that the circular shape had disappeared and no other signs of its location could be found. Referred to by NASA engineers as the second object, the crew aboard the ISS would claim to witness an unexplainable warping ghostly figure directly following the path of the International Space Station. Hoping to get a much higher quality image of the unknown object, astronaut Daniel Burbank would grab a small handheld digital camera and take a series of images of the unexplainable material. The National Aeronautics and Space Administration would mention the encounter in their reports, but would fail to comment on its possible origins or the strange nature of its movement. The only statement NASA engineers would provide would be a short paragraph caption stating, "No further comments on the incident were given by the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, and the incident would formally be explained as having been the result of a misidentification of ice buildup." Tether Incident. The NASA Tether Incident took place during the STS-75 mission of the Space Shuttle Columbia in 1996. The mission's primary objective was to deploy a tethered satellite system for scientific experiments, but things took an unexpected turn when the tether snapped and drifted away from the shuttle. While the event was initially viewed as a mission failure, what happened next drew the attention of UFO enthusiasts and researchers worldwide. As the broken tether drifted through space, cameras on board the shuttle captured footage of dozens of unidentified objects seemingly swarming around the tether. These objects, which appeared as bright disc-shaped forms, were described by some as donut-like or circular, with a distinct translucent quality. They exhibited unusual behavior, hovering and moving at various speeds, and many of them seemed to move in deliberate patterns, suggesting intelligence behind their movements. NASA dismissed the objects as ice particles, debris, or camera artifacts, but many observers remained unconvinced. For years, the footage of the NASA Tether incident has been scrutinized by researchers and UFO enthusiasts who argue that the objects could not be explained by conventional means. The similarity between these objects and the one captured in 2013 was striking, causing many to speculate that he had captured evidence of the same type of UFO or perhaps the very same objects that appeared in the 1996 footage. When comparing the photographs with the footage from the NASA Tether incident, several key similarities stood out. Both the 2013 object and the Tether UFOs share a distinct disc shape, appearing almost translucent or with a faint glow, as if they were made of some material or energy source unfamiliar to humans. The edges of these discs seemed smooth and rounded, giving them an otherworldly appearance. Furthermore, the behavior of the object in the 2013, as documented in his images, resembled the behavior of the objects seen during the NASA mission. In the Tether footage, the objects appeared to emit or reflect light in a manner inconsistent with simple debris or ice particles, with some even seeming to pulsate or radiate energy. The man's photos showed similar characteristics, with beams of light emanating from the object, giving the impression of a controlled energy source or propulsion system. The fact that his object and the Tether incident UFOs shared these characteristics led to a surge of speculation among those who had followed the 1996 event. Many believed that his images might be further proof that these disc-shaped entities were not merely space debris or camera anomalies, but rather intelligently controlled craft. If the same type of objects had been observed in 1996 and again in 2013, it suggested a pattern of activity, possibly one involving surveillance or monitoring of Earth's vicinity by unknown entities. The resemblance between the 2013 UFO and the Tether incident objects only fueled the growing suspicion of a cover-up. The NASA Tether incident has long been a point of contention, with critics accusing NASA of downplaying or concealing the true nature of what was captured on camera. The mysterious Wilkes Land anomaly. The Wilkes Land anomaly, buried deep beneath the East Antarctic ice sheet, has long been a subject of fascination and speculation among scientists and amateur researchers. For those unaware, the Wilkes Land anomaly was first identified in the early 2000s when researchers from The Ohio State University detected unusual gravitational fluctuations while analyzing data from NASA's Gravity Recovery and Climate Experiment satellites. The gravity measurements revealed a massive circular structure beneath the ice, approximately 300 miles in diameter and located more than a mile below the surface. This strange feature immediately caught the attention of scientists worldwide, who sought to determine the cause of the gravitational disturbance and the nature of the hidden structure. Since its discovery, numerous scientific expeditions and research projects have been conducted to investigate the Wilkes Land anomaly. Using advanced technologies, such as airborne radar and satellite imagery, researchers have been able to study the subglacial structure in greater detail. Despite these efforts, many aspects of the anomaly remain elusive, and the exact nature of the structure is still a subject of debate among scientists. One of the most significant findings came from a study conducted in 2006 by a team of researchers led by Ralph von Fraser and Laramie Potts. Analyzing the gravity and magnetic data from the region, they proposed that the anomaly was caused by a massive impact crater formed by an asteroid collision approximately 250 million years ago. According to their research, the impact event may have contributed to the largest mass extinction in Earth's history, known as the Permian-Triassic extinction event, during which nearly 90% of all species on Earth perished. While the impact crater theory has gained significant traction within the scientific community, alternative theories have also been proposed to explain the Wilkes Land anomaly. Some researchers suggest that the gravitational disturbance could be the result of a massive volcanic structure or a cluster of smaller volcanic formations beneath the ice. This theory is supported by the fact that Antarctica is home to numerous subglacial volcanoes and geothermal hotspots. Another theory, popular among alternative history enthusiasts, posits that the Wilkes Land anomaly could be the remnants of an ancient civilization or advanced technological structure. Proponents of this theory often point to the anomaly's circular shape and seemingly artificial appearance as evidence for their claims. While this theory has not gained widespread acceptance within the scientific community, it continues to fuel speculation and debate among those interested in the mysteries of Antarctica. The James Webb Telescope just detected 6 galaxies so old and massive they shouldn't even exist. The discovery made by the James Webb Space Telescope has left astronomers baffled. Nobody expected to find such massive galaxies existing so early in the universe's history, and yet the telescope's deep field images have revealed 6 ancient galaxies that seem to defy the fundamental understanding of cosmology. These galaxies are so large and filled with mature red stars that, according to current models of galaxy formation, they should not even exist. The James Webb Space Telescope, designed to peer further into the universe's past than any instrument before it, captured images of these galaxies as they appeared only 500 to 700 million years after the Big Bang. This time period marks the infancy of the universe, an era when only the first galaxies were expected to be forming. However, the galaxies detected by Webb do not fit the expected model. Rather than appearing as small, blue, newly formed clusters of stars, they are as massive as the Milky Way and filled with old, red stars, suggesting that they had already been in existence long enough for their stars to age significantly. This contradicts the idea that galaxies take billions of years to accumulate such mass and complexity. The implications of this discovery are profound. Current cosmological models suggest that after the Big Bang, the universe went through a dark age lasting about 400 million years. During this period, space was filled with a thick fog of hydrogen atoms, preventing the formation of significant structures. It was only when the first stars began emitting light that this fog was cleared, allowing galaxies to form. Scientists had expected that the galaxies from this era would be small and in their early stages of development. Instead, the newly identified galaxies challenge this belief, appearing far too large and mature for their estimated age. Joel Leisure, an assistant professor of astronomy and astrophysics at Penn State and one of the researchers behind the study, emphasized that these galaxies do not match previous observations of early cosmic history. Earlier studies using the Hubble Space Telescope primarily detected small, blue, and young galaxies, consistent with the expectation that early galaxies had just begun forming. The newfound galaxies, however, are up to 50 times more massive than what was previously thought possible. If these observations are correct, scientists may need to reconsider their understanding of how quickly galaxies can form and evolve in the early universe. The presence of old red stars in these galaxies is another mystery. Typically, young galaxies are dominated by hot, blue stars that shine brightly as they rapidly burn through their fuel. As stars age, they become cooler and redder. The fact that these early galaxies contain significant numbers of red stars suggests that they had already undergone a long period of star formation and evolution, something that, under current theories, should not have been possible in such a short time span. This unexpected discovery has led to various theories attempting to explain the anomaly. One possibility is that scientists have underestimated the speed at which galaxies can form and accumulate mass. If galaxies could somehow evolve at a much faster rate than previously thought, it could mean that the early universe was far more dynamic than currently believed. Another explanation is that the fundamental physics of the early universe may be different from what scientists had assumed, possibly requiring a re-evaluation of the standard cosmological model. There is also the possibility that the observed galaxies are not as massive as they appear. It is possible that certain observational effects are causing scientists to overestimate their size and mass. Further analysis and follow-up observations using Webb's powerful instruments will be necessary to determine whether these galaxies truly are as massive and mature as they seem. If confirmed, these findings could lead to one of the most significant paradigm shifts in astrophysics in recent history. Regardless of the outcome, one thing is clear: the universe is far more complex and mysterious than scientists had previously imagined. As more data comes in, astronomers will continue to refine their theories, potentially leading to new breakthroughs in our understanding of the cosmos. The James Webb Space Telescope, only in its early years of operation, has already begun to revolutionize astrophysics. If this discovery is any indication, we are only scratching the surface of the mysteries that await us in the vast expanse of the universe. The mysterious Mars Towers. The red planet Mars has always captured the imagination of scientists and space enthusiasts. Its dusty red landscapes, towering volcanoes, and vast canyons present an alluring mystery to those who study it. The search for signs of life, the investigation of its geological history, and the prospect of future colonization have driven numerous space missions. Recently, a new mystery has added to the intrigue surrounding Mars: the discovery of 3-mile-high towers standing in a row on the planet's surface. The unusual structures were first photographed by the European Space Agency's Mars Express mission in 2012. Using its high-resolution stereo camera, the mission captured detailed images of the Martian surface, revealing a peculiar alignment of 3 towering formations. Each of these structures rises approximately 3 miles high, and their precise, linear arrangement has led to widespread speculation about their origin. The formations, now commonly referred to as the Martian Towers, have divided opinion among scientists and the public alike. The primary debate is whether these towers are natural geological formations or evidence of something more extraordinary, possibly even artificial structures created by an ancient Martian civilization. The latter theory, while exciting, remains highly speculative without concrete evidence to support it. The theory suggests that the towers could have been formed by volcanic processes, with the surrounding terrain eroding over millions of years, leaving these towering remnants. However, critics of this theory point out that the symmetry and linear arrangement of the towers are not characteristic of known volcanic activity, which typically results in more irregular formations. The more speculative theory proposes that the towers could be remnants of ancient constructions by a technologically advanced civilization that may have once inhabited Mars. Proponents of this idea suggest that the towers might have served as monumental structures, communication beacons, or even watchtowers. The straight alignment of the towers particularly fuels this theory, as natural formations rarely exhibit such precision. However, mainstream scientists are cautious about this interpretation, noting that many natural geological processes can produce seemingly artificial patterns. The mystery of the Martian Towers has led to renewed interest in Mars exploration. Some scientists advocate for targeted missions to this region to study the formations up close. Current Mars rovers, such as NASA's Perseverance, are focused on different areas of the planet, mainly searching for signs of past microbial life and studying the planet's geology. However, future missions could be designed to investigate the mysterious towers directly, possibly using advanced imaging technology or even sample return missions. While no concrete evidence currently supports the idea of artificial construction, the possibility that Mars may hold remnants of ancient life or civilizations remains a captivating idea. The discovery of the Martian Towers serves as a reminder of how much we still have to learn about our neighboring planet. With each new discovery, Mars reveals more of its secrets, challenging our understanding of the solar system and the history of life in the universe. The mysterious Silbury Hill incident. Silbury Hill, situated in the county of Wiltshire, England, near Avebury, has long been associated with the extraordinary. Over time, it has garnered attention from enthusiasts and those captivated by the possibility of advanced life and supernatural phenomena. This notable hill, towering at an impressive height of 131 feet, was built by human hands, yet its purpose remains shrouded in mystery. Nevertheless, this enigma has not deterred people from speculating about its true nature, with some even positing that it possesses a mystical essence or conceals a hidden treasure within its ancient structure. The allure and intrigue surrounding Silbury Hill have grown exponentially, making it a fascinating subject for those who seek to delve into the realms of the unknown and expand their knowledge of the unexplained. In the summer of 2009, a police officer, who happened to be off duty at the time, was driving along the A4 road, which offers a decent view of the enigmatic Silbury Hill. It was early morning, just before dawn, when the officer's attention was drawn to what is commonly known as a crop circle. What caught the officer's curiosity was the fresh appearance of this particular crop circle, as if it had been recently formed. However, that was not the only unusual aspect of the scene. As the officer observed the mysterious crop circle, he noticed 3 exceptionally tall figures standing nearby. Cloaked in white garments, their faces hidden from view, and adorned with long blonde hair, these figures piqued the officer's interest. At first, he dismissed them as investigators conducting a forensic examination. But as he approached, a distinct and bothersome buzzing sound reached his ears, impossible to ignore. Surprisingly, the figures seemed completely unfazed by this auditory disturbance. Undeterred, the officer ventured closer and even tried to communicate with the figures, calling out to them. However, his attempts went unnoticed. It was during this interaction, though, that the officer sensed something peculiar occurring within the boundaries of the crop circle. The strange buzzing emanated from within, and the crops within the circle swayed as if being moved by an invisible force, despite the absence of any noticeable wind in the surrounding atmosphere. This stark contrast, where everything outside the crop circle remained still, strongly suggested that something other than wind was responsible for the movement, perhaps an unidentified engine. Driven by curiosity, the officer mustered the courage to approach the figures, causing them to briefly turn their heads in his direction before vanishing into thin air with an uncanny, supernatural swiftness that made it impossible for him to keep up. The perplexing buzzing sound, however, persisted. Faced with this unnerving situation, the officer decided it was best to retreat to the safety of his vehicle, succumbing to a sudden wave of apprehension. The summer morning encounter along the A4 road left the officer astounded by the fresh crop circle, the enigmatic figures with their concealed faces, and the inexplicable buzzing sound resonating from within. It was an encounter marked by a sense of mystery and an eerie astonishment that lingered in the officer's mind, igniting a desire for answers to the puzzling phenomenon. In a scenario reminiscent of Shermer's case, the officer stationed at Silbury Hill underwent an agonizing headache that persisted throughout the entire day following his perplexing encounter. Filing a detailed report with his superiors, the officer's claims were not thoroughly investigated due to the fact that he was off duty during the incident. Despite the absence of any additional eyewitnesses, or at least no individuals who came forward, peculiarly enough, there were other intriguing accounts from individuals who had observed an anomalous, unmarked helicopter hovering precisely at the same location where the officer first spotted the crop circle. This peculiar helicopter remained stationary for an uninterrupted 3-hour period before abruptly departing towards an unknown destination on the night following the officer's inexplicable experience. Although this correspondence is not an exact witness account, one can't help but question the likelihood of a mysterious and unmarked helicopter coincidentally appearing in the same vicinity. Is it merely an extraordinary coincidence, or a subtle confirmation of the officer's exceptional encounter? This intriguing series of events raises intriguing questions and adds an unprecedented layer of complexity to the story. The mysterious disappearances of Terence Williams and Felipe Santos. The disappearances of Terence Williams and Felipe Santos are two cases that have baffled investigators and haunted their families for over a decade. These men, both young and full of promise, vanished under suspicious circumstances in Naples, Florida, in separate incidents involving the same former police officer, Steve Calkins. Terence Williams, a 27-year-old father of four, disappeared on January 12, 2004. According to witness accounts, Terence was last seen being stopped by Deputy Steve Calkins for driving without a license. Calkins claimed to have dropped Terence off at a nearby convenience store, but Terence was never seen again. The circumstances surrounding Terence's disappearance immediately raised questions. Friends and family described him as a responsible and caring father who would not willingly abandon his children. Calkins's account of the incident was inconsistent with witness statements, and his actions became a focal point of the investigation. Less than 3 months before Terence's disappearance, on October 14, 2003, Felipe Santos, a 23-year-old Mexican immigrant, vanished under eerily similar circumstances. Like Terence, Felipe was stopped by Deputy Steve Calkins for driving without a license. Calkins claimed to have arrested Felipe and arranged for him to be transported to the county jail. However, there is no record of Felipe's arrival at the jail, and he has never been located since. Felipe's family, distraught and desperate for answers, sought to uncover the truth about what happened to their son, and the similarities between the two cases raised suspicions that something sinister may have occurred at the hands of Deputy Calkins. The investigations into the disappearances of Terence Williams and Felipe Santos faced numerous challenges. Initially, there was limited evidence to corroborate the accounts provided by Deputy Calkins, and the absence of physical evidence made it difficult to establish foul play definitively. Moreover, the investigations were complicated by the reluctance of some law enforcement agencies to fully cooperate and disclose information. Some officials downplayed the significance of the cases, contributing to the frustration and disillusionment of the victims' families. The families of Terence Williams and Felipe Santos have been instrumental in keeping their cases in the public eye, and through activism and advocacy efforts, they have fought to ensure that their loved ones are not forgotten and that justice is served. The support of community organizations and civil rights advocates has played a crucial role in bringing attention to these cases. Public pressure, fueled by widespread awareness campaigns and protests, has prompted renewed interest from law enforcement agencies. Despite the passage of time, the families of Terence Williams and Felipe Santos continue to search for answers. They remain determined to uncover the truth about what happened to their loved ones and to hold those responsible accountable for their actions. Recent developments, including the reopening of investigations and the issuance of subpoenas, suggest that progress is being made in these long-standing cases. The efforts of the victims' families and the tireless work of dedicated investigators have given hope that justice may finally be served. The Calvine Incident. The Calvine UFO photo, also known as the picture taken near the town of Calvine in Scotland, has captivated and divided the UFO community for a significant period of time, making it one of the most fascinating and controversial pieces of evidence in the realm of potential extraterrestrial activity. Recently, there has been a revelation regarding the identity of the mysterious person behind the camera, reigniting the attention and curiosity surrounding this enigmatic image. This comprehensive exploration delves deep into the various aspects and implications of the Calvine photo, enriching our understanding of its significance and contributing to the ongoing discourse within the UFO community. According to the majority of references, it is widely accepted that the photograph was captured during the afternoon of August 4, 1990, specifically when two unidentified individuals were observed strolling in the direction of the town of Calvine. As the observers directed their gaze upwards while engaged in their previous activity, they were unexpectedly captivated by the presence of a conspicuous object resembling the shape of a diamond hovering above them. Upon making a cursory assessment, they approximated the dimensions of this peculiar vessel to be approximately 100 feet in diameter. Upon realizing that they had captured an exceptionally extraordinary event in the photographs, the individuals involved decided to approach a newspaper with the hope that their intriguing sighting would be published. However, to their surprise, the newspaper declined to run any story regarding their encounter. As a peculiar turn of events, the photographs ultimately ended up in the possession of the Ministry of Defense, raising even more questions about the significance of what had been captured. After the occurrence, the incident appeared to fade into obscurity, only regaining attention with the publication of a book by Nick Pope, a prominent UFO researcher from the United Kingdom. In this book, Pope recounts the incident and sheds new light on its significance. He reveals that the photographs taken during the incident were carefully examined by multiple individuals within the Ministry of Defense. It is claimed that these images served as compelling evidence and played a pivotal role in gradually shifting Pope's skepticism towards UFO sightings. The encounter prompted him to realize that there existed a deeper and more intriguing aspect to these phenomena than he had initially believed. In an unexpected turn of events, the situation took an even more peculiar twist. Suddenly, and without warning, an RAF Tornado aircraft materialized out of nowhere, encircling the enigmatic object in question. Sensing the significance of this moment, one of the individuals swiftly reached for a camera they fortuitously carried and successfully captured a series of photographs, freezing the bizarre encounter in time. Astonishingly, in the blink of an eye, the mysterious entity swiftly ascended vertically, vanishing from sight with unfathomable velocity. This perplexing event left the observers in awe, bewildered by the inexplicable sequence of events that had just unfolded before their eyes. Even though the existence of the photograph had been known to the public since the mid-1990s through Pope's book, it wasn't until the early 2020s when Dr. David Clarke conducted extensive research on the case that it regained widespread attention. Interestingly, Clarke had actually interviewed Pope about the incident as early as 2001. Clarke's thorough examination of the subject shed new light on the photograph, bringing it back to the forefront of public interest. This significant resurgence sparked renewed discussions and analysis, leading to a deeper understanding of the photograph and its implications. During their conversation, Pope would disclose to Clarke that he had initially come across the photograph in a poster form during his tenure at the Ministry of Defense. According to Pope, it is worth mentioning that the picture in question had received significant attention and scrutiny from multiple individuals. It was widely perceived as a representation of a sturdy and well-constructed spacecraft, rather than being dismissed as a mere fabrication or trickery. To put it succinctly, within the Ministry of Defense, there existed a considerable belief, as voiced by Pope, that the picture indeed depicted a genuine phenomenon. This perspective was shared by many individuals within the ministry, suggesting a collective confidence in the authenticity of the image. The Pope then proceeded to disclose that in the aftermath, numerous individuals began to question the true nature of the object, raising suspicions that it might be an undisclosed, top-secret aircraft developed by the United States government under the classified project codenamed Aurora. It was during this period that Pope vividly remembered encountering a defensive mindset among those involved in handling these claims. In a fascinating turn of events, one of his superiors entered his office one day, swiftly removing the poster depicting the mysterious object from the wall and securely locking it away in a drawer, an action that left an indelible impression on Pope. Remarkably, as far as he was aware at the time of speaking in 2001, the poster's hidden residence within that very drawer likely persisted to this day, adding an intriguing layer of longevity to the enigma surrounding it. It is worth noting that in addition to his discussions with Clarke, Pope revealed that he had made multiple attempts to inquire about the existence of a clandestine aircraft from American sources. Interestingly, the responses he received indicated that they did not possess such a secretive aircraft. However, they curiously directed their curiosity towards the British military, questioning if they might have a similar aircraft to the one described by Pope. This exchange suggests that the Americans were also aware of reports relating to the existence of such an aircraft. The information provided by Pope sheds light on the international interest and intrigue surrounding this elusive aircraft. In January 2023, Matthew Ilsley, a member of Clarke's research team, shared in an interview with the Falkirk Herald that he had successfully located the photograph they had been searching for. To their surprise, there was a name written on the back of the photograph. This significant discovery was made possible through the assistance of Craig Lindsay, a retired RAF officer who had secretly held onto the photograph in his residence and later passed it on to Ilsley for further examination. The revelation of the name on the back of the photograph added a new layer of intrigue and possibilities to their investigation. In his article published in the Daily Mail, Clark claimed that upon seeing the photograph presented by Lindsay, he immediately recognized it as something extraordinary. He described the image as slightly blurry, giving the impression that it was captured in a moment of panic. However, Clark noted that this was in line with the witness's accounts. Emphasizing that he is not easily swayed by unsubstantiated theories, Clark confidently maintained that the depicted object is undoubtedly a structured craft of unknown origin. He stressed that its appearance is undeniably otherworldly, and unlike any conventional aircraft commonly known. By stating this, he aimed to establish the uniqueness and remarkable nature of the unidentified flying object captured in the photograph. Furthermore, it is worth noting that Clark can confirm the steps he took to ensure the authenticity of the photograph. To ascertain its validity, he sought the expertise of Andrew Robinson, a senior lecturer on photography at Sheffield Hallam University. The conclusions drawn by Robinson after analysing the photograph were conclusive. No tampering had taken place, thus affirming its genuineness. This raises an intriguing question. If the photograph were indeed a fake, what could explain the photographer's prolonged silence over a period of more than 3 decades? According to Clark, Robinson conveyed to him that the object was situated unmistakably in front of the camera and assured him that it was not a fabricated element created during post-production. This information provided by Robinson serves to confirm the authenticity of the object's presence in the footage. Lindsay affirms that he had the opportunity to meet the photographer more than 30 years ago, and from their initial interaction, it became evident to Lindsay that the young man was experiencing feelings of fear and unease due to the distressing event he had witnessed. Lindsay also observed that the photographer's demeanour and behaviour indicated that he was not fabricating or inventing the incident in any way. In his conversation with Clark, he would express that as a press officer for the RAF in Scotland, he had encountered numerous reports of UFOs, although most of them proved to be mere sightings of peculiar lights. However, he would emphatically assert that the situation with the Calvine UFO photograph was distinct. Moreover, he would vividly recall that when the witness mentioned that the object was completely silent and emitted no noise whatsoever, he began to recognize the possibility that it could be something extraordinary. He would further elaborate that, based on his knowledge, there were no known aircraft that operated without producing any sound. This observation prompted him to consider the potential exceptional nature of the object in question. Lindsay took the initiative to share copies of the picture with various newspapers and also sent a faxed copy to the Ministry of Defence. From his memory, he recalled that the MOD promptly reached out to him, expressing their interest in obtaining more information about the sighting and inquiring if he still possessed the original negatives. When Pope visited the Ministry of Defence offices in London, he was surprised to discover that the photograph had been enlarged to a poster size and prominently displayed on the office wall. This detail highlights the significance and impact of the image within the ministry. In the end, Lindsay received instructions to refrain from pursuing any further investigation into the sighting and leave it in the hands of the authorities in London. Over the course of subsequent years, no further information or updates were received regarding the sighting. However, Lindsay held on to the original photograph, preserving it in a drawer at his residence. In conversations with Clark, Lindsay expressed his optimistic anticipation that the 2 individuals who had witnessed the event would eventually come forward and share their personal accounts. This hopeful expectation signifies Lindsay's desire for the truth to be revealed from first-hand experiences. In an effort to preserve the anonymity of the photographer, the person responsible for the photographs was intentionally kept unknown to the public. Ilsley, the spokesperson, explained that they had diligently undertaken the task of reaching out to as many individuals as possible who might possess information about the identity of the photographer in question. In March 2023, there was a disclosure that the photographer's identity had been uncovered and confirmed as Kevin Russell. It seems that Russell had been employed as a porter at the Pitlochry Hydro Hotel, located nearby, for a considerable number of years. However, according to reports, he supposedly left Pitlochry and returned to Glasgow during the early 1990s. This information sheds light on Russell's previous occupation and his possible movements during that period. Ilsley conducted extensive and thorough searches in an ardent effort to locate Russell. In this pursuit, she delved into various records and databases, unearthing information on approximately 300 individuals sharing the name Russell, who would now be in their 50s, solely within the borders of Scotland. The research further revealed an additional 150 individuals with the same name dispersed across other regions within the United Kingdom, the United States, Canada, and Australia. Despite meticulously reaching out to each of these individuals, Ilsley's endeavours proved fruitless, as none of them turned out to be the person she and her team were fervently seeking. Subsequently, the legal proceedings advanced further, when an unidentified individual, purporting to have been employed at the hotel during the same period as Russell, provided Ilsley with a photograph depicting the elusive person they were diligently seeking. This development added another layer of complexity and intrigue to the case, as the anonymous source's revelation opened up new possibilities for the investigation. The item under consideration could potentially be a cutting-edge, confidential military apparatus. Nevertheless, even if this supposition were accurate, it would inevitably raise additional inquiries regarding the specific types of vehicles that the armed forces of various nations, such as the United States, the United Kingdom, and potentially others globally, possess within their arsenals. Exploring this matter in depth, it is essential to delve into the comprehensive range of military vehicles at the disposal of these nations, uncovering a wealth of information that may enrich our understanding of their capabilities and strategic resources. Numerous researchers and aviation specialists have engaged in extensive speculation regarding the nature of the object captured in the Calvine UFO photograph. Specifically, they have questioned whether it could potentially be an aircraft associated with the highly secretive Aurora program. This enigmatic program, rumoured to have been operational since the early 1990s, allegedly involved a top-secret hypersonic aircraft conducting clandestine operations from United States air bases situated in Scotland. The speculation surrounding this photograph has prompted scholarly and expert discussions, delving into the precise connections between the photographed object and the Aurora program, thus adding another layer of intrigue to the ongoing mystery surrounding this intriguing phenomenon. It is indeed intriguing to note that despite the wealth of information available regarding the Calvine UFO photograph, there exists a significant number of individuals within the UFO community who refute its authenticity. Some argue that it is simply a reconnaissance aircraft belonging to the US military, while others strongly assert that it is nothing more than an elaborate hoax. It is frequently suggested that skeptics will only entertain the notion of extraterrestrial visitors when confronted with photographic evidence. However, even when such evidence does manifest, as is the case with the Calvine UFO picture, it is promptly dismissed as insufficient proof of anything extraordinary. This prevailing skepticism within the UFO community is a noteworthy aspect to consider. Despite the numerous debates surrounding the authenticity of the Calvine UFO photograph, opinions remain divided. There are those who adamantly reject its legitimacy, attributing it to covert military operations. Conversely, skeptics dismiss it entirely as a fabrication, emphasizing the need for incontestable proof in order to be persuaded of the plausibility of advanced visitations. It is important to recognize the significance of differing perspectives within this discourse. Just what was the strange object witnessed over the town of Calvine that evening in the summer of 1990? And if there was nothing to the object, why does the military wish certain files connected to the case to remain classified until well into the 2070s, despite the 30-year rule on such information? Although the National Archives insist that only the names of those involved are subject to this rule, it is certainly an area for suspicion. We would, for example, suspect if the object was simply an experimental aircraft, details of it would be safe to enter the public arena 30 years later. The twists and turns that the Calvine UFO photograph and the events surrounding it have taken only go to show how murky the world of UFO research actually is. At the time of writing, the search is on, both for Russell and the other witness to the events, and if they do decide to come forward, the Calvine UFO photograph could indeed prove to be one of the most important pieces of evidence for UFO researchers in history. That it is as relevant today as it was when it was first taken over 30 years ago is without doubt. The disappearance of Jordan Nebling. Jordan Nebling, a 19-year-old individual, went missing in Travelers Rest, South Carolina on the 10th of October in the year 2020. Her disappearance occurred following an incident where her car unexpectedly broke down near the vicinity of Old White Horse Road, as a result of which she required assistance. It was her ex-boyfriend who came to her aid and picked her up. Jordan Cheyenne Nebling, born on March 8, 2001, entered this world as a precious gift to her mother, Heidi Nebling. However, circumstances led her to grow up in the nurturing embrace of foster care. Yet, destiny had a different plan for Jordan, as she was later fortunate enough to find her forever home through adoption. Jordan, during her teenage years, had a troubling past. The circumstances surrounding her vanishing were unrelated to her previous struggles. Notably, Jordan had successfully embarked on a positive journey towards adulthood. She had recently secured a new job, which signified a positive change for her. She had a reputation for regularly visiting the scenic locations of Travelers Rest and Marietta in South Carolina. On October 9, 2020, Jordan Nebling and a male companion embarked on a journey from Travelers Rest to visit their acquaintances in the charming town of Cowpens, situated in South Carolina. It should be noted that Jordan and her friend were traveling in a car that was kindly loaned to them. On the date of October 10, 2020, Jordan made the decision to embark on a solo journey back to her hometown of Travelers Rest. However, unforeseen circumstances arose when the vehicle she had borrowed unexpectedly experienced a breakdown right in front of a residential property situated on Old White Horse Road in Travelers Rest, South Carolina. In the afternoon, at approximately 1:30, Jordan Nebling was sighted for the last time near her residence. It was during this time that she was observed entering a vehicle belonging to an individual who had arrived to collect her. Regrettably, Jordan never made her way back home, and there has been a prolonged absence of any communication. On November 8, 2020, the stepmother of the individual took the proactive step of filing a report to the Greenville County Sheriff's Office, expressing concern and seeking assistance in locating the missing person. This action came about due to the stepmother's unsuccessful attempts to establish contact with Jordan. According to the authorities' findings, it was established that Jordan had made contact with her former romantic partner, Tyler Wilkins, who resided in the town of Travelers Rest, with the intention of seeking a ride from him. Tyler attested that he indeed drove Jordan to his residence. However, an altercation arose between them, resulting in Jordan opting to depart on foot independently. Jordan and Wylans were in a romantic relationship for a period of 2 years, and even had a brief period of cohabitation when Jordan was just 17. It is worth mentioning that at the time, Tyler Wilkins, despite being associated with Jordan's disappearance, has not faced any charges related to any criminal activities. However, in a turn of events, Tyler Wilkins, who was previously in a relationship with Jordan, found himself arrested on November 10, 2022. This arrest came about due to his involvement in a series of crimes, including taking someone's life. Wilkins stands accused of allegedly imprisoning his partner within the confines of a residence belonging to a family member. Authorities have raised suspicions of foul play in the case of Jordan Nebling's disappearance, however. Despite a thorough investigation, no conclusive evidence of a crime has been uncovered. The exact details surrounding Jordan's disappearance continue to be shrouded in mystery, leaving her case classified as a missing person. Despite extensive investigations, her whereabouts remain unknown and the case remains unsolved. The disappearance of Alexis Wear. Alexis Wear, a 29-year-old woman, went missing in Anderson, South Carolina on January 30, 2022. Her disappearance occurred following a meeting with her former partner at a gas station. The circumstances surrounding her vanishing remain a matter of concern, leaving her friends and family worried. Alexis Wear, who resided in Greenville, South Carolina, went missing along with her 2 children. Her household consisted of a 9-year-old daughter and a 2-year-old son. This disappearance case has garnered significant attention due to the circumstances surrounding her absence. Alexis, a skilled hairstylist, operated her own home studio where she catered to a loyal clientele. With a strong presence on social media, she aspired to venture into the realm of Instagram modeling, utilizing her creativity and expertise to showcase various hairstyles and fashion trends. Beyond her immediate goals, Alexis harbored long-term ambitions of establishing an exclusive boutique in the vibrant city of Atlanta, envisioning it as a stepping stone towards a better future for her family. Over the course of a leisurely weekend from January 29th to January 31st, 2022, Alexis Wear decided to take a break from her usual routine in Greenville, South Carolina. Eager to spend quality time with her loved ones, she embarked on a journey to her mother's residence. She expressed her feelings of anxiety and unease to her mother, recounting her experiences of being followed and receiving unwelcome calls from an unidentified individual whom she had nicknamed the Devil. These unnerving encounters had left her with a deep sense of fear, causing her to doubt whether she would even reach the milestone of her impending 30th birthday. In the early afternoon of January 30th, 2022, Sarah Wear bid farewell to her mother and embarked on her journey back to her hometown of Greenville. 3 hours later, at precisely 3 in the afternoon, she engaged in a heartfelt conversation with her mother through the convenience of a video chat, during which she casually mentioned her intention to catch up on some much-needed rest. In the evening, at approximately 7, Wear made her way to the 7-Eleven store located on Highway 29 North in Anderson, South Carolina. Her intention was to meet TJ Patterson, the father of her youngest child. Upon arrival, she entrusted the care of their children to him, after which they departed the premises in their respective vehicles. Wear was originally intended to accompany Patterson to his mother's residence before returning to her own mother's abode. However, as per reports, at some juncture, she purportedly maneuvered her vehicle ahead of his at a red traffic signal and swiftly accelerated into the darkness of the night. In the evening, precisely at 7:30, Patterson took the initiative to reach out to Wear's mother and provided a detailed account of the events leading to their separation. Patterson expressed her concern by attempting to call her daughter's cell phone. However, her attempts were unsuccessful as the call directly diverted to her voicemail. Alexis Wear, a young woman with a promising future, mysteriously disappeared without a trace and did not make it back to her home. On the first day of February in the year 2022, the family of the individual in question took the step of submitting a report to the Anderson County Sheriff's Office, as they were unable to establish contact with her. In the evening of January 30th, 2022, there was a significant event related to Wear's cell phone. At precisely 8:15 in the evening, her cell phone sent a signal that indicated its location as Anderson, South Carolina. This important piece of information provided a starting point for further investigation. Furthermore, there were additional sightings of her car captured by surveillance cameras at an apartment complex in Anderson on multiple occasions throughout that night. In the late hours of that very evening, the surveillance cameras along the highway in Augusta, Georgia, approximately 1 hour's drive away, captured the presence of Wear's car. However, it remains uncertain as to whether Alexis Wear herself was behind the wheel of the vehicle during that particular moment in time. This raises questions about the identity of the individual who may have been operating the vehicle. On the 1st of February, 2022, the vehicle belonging to Wear, which was a red Honda Accord manufactured in the year 2019 and bearing a South Carolina license plate, was discovered abandoned and heavily coated in mud. This peculiar finding took place in a hunting field located in McCormick, South Carolina, approximately 30 miles to the south of Anderson. Wear lacked any companions or relatives in the vicinity of McCormick. Interestingly, her cell phone, purse, and identification documents were discovered within the vehicle itself, indicating their undeniable presence. Furthermore, an assortment of garments was recovered from the trunk, suggesting possible intention for a change of attire. On a peculiar note, her hair bonnet was stumbled upon lying on the ground adjacent to the automobile. This collection of intriguing details raises profound questions and warrants further investigation into the circumstances surrounding Wear's situation in the McCormick area. In their investigative efforts, the police successfully obtained fingerprints from the vehicle in question. However, they have refrained from disclosing any information regarding the potential match between these prints and the individual suspected to be Wear or any other person involved in the case. TJ Patterson, in his statement to the authorities, recounted that on January 30th, He departed for home after meeting with Alexis at the gas station. The following day, he proceeded to work as usual. As part of the investigation, surveillance footage from the gas station's parking lot was carefully examined, revealing no unusual activities or circumstances. This thorough analysis aimed to gain a comprehensive understanding of the events surrounding T.J. Patterson's activities during this time period and provide additional insights into the case. Currently, there have been no individuals identified as persons of interest in the case of Alexis's disappearance. However, the police have made it clear that they are actively investigating all potential leads and considering every possibility. In the investigation into Alexis Wear's disappearance, the police have thoroughly examined the case and have not come across any evidence, means, or motives indicating foul play. The details surrounding the disappearance of Alexis Wear are shrouded in mystery, leaving investigators with little information to work with. At present, her whereabouts remain unknown, and the case remains unsolved.
Giant monoliths at Baalbek. In the modern city of Baalbek, Lebanon, are several massive monoliths known to be the largest in the world. Baalbek was under Roman rule for a period of time, in which it was referred to as Heliopolis, or City of the Sun. The stones were cut and carved to be used for one of the grandest and largest temples to the Roman god Jupiter, known by the Greeks as Zeus. The temple features one of the most awe-inspiring megalithic foundations, consisting of 27 enormous limestone blocks. 3 of the largest make up the base, and are known as the Trilithon, with each weighing at least 1,000 tons. Aside from those 3, are 2 other monoliths, larger and heavier than the ones actually used for the temple. One of those was the Stone of the Pregnant Woman. The other is known as the Stone of the South and is even heavier. The Stone of the Pregnant Woman was first thought to be the largest monolith discovered. Analyses of the size and weight of the enormous monolith in Baalbek, Lebanon, by the German Archaeological Institute revealed that the megalithic block was one of the largest ever discovered. Its name comes from stories and legends that a pregnant woman tricked villagers into believing that she would be able to move it, if they fed her until she gave birth. Other stories say that the name comes from legends that pregnant jinn were assigned the task of cutting and moving the stones. There are even some who believe that a woman who touches the stone raises her chances at fertility. The blocks originated from a limestone quarry nearby. The monoliths are thought to date back at least 2,000 years, or to around 27 BC. Although they were probably intended to be used for a temple to Jupiter, these stones never made it to the building, laying at a distance of 900 meters away from the Heliopolis temple complex. Experts believe this is because they turned out to be too heavy to transport. Researchers also discovered later that a crack in the Stone of the Pregnant Woman must have been the reason why it, specifically, was never transported. The Stone of the South was discovered after the Stone of the Pregnant Woman, as it rests underneath the latter and was mostly buried under a few feet of dirt. The Stone of the South is now the largest known ever carved by human hands, at 1,242 tons. These monoliths are thought to have probably been cut in the same way as the masonry used in the Pont de Garde, a Roman aqueduct in southern France. Each piece would have been split from a larger expanse of limestone along natural fissures. Because they would have been too heavy to lift, they were likely pulled using a capstan, like a human-driven winch, or using a sledge. Despite these stones being a possible disappointment to their carvers, as they turned out to be useless for the purposes of the temple, the Stone of the Pregnant Woman and the Stone of the South both set a world record for the biggest boulders ever discovered. It is incredible to imagine that people in the past, with their limited technologies and resources, were able to cut and carve such massive blocks of stone in order to raise temples and monuments. These discoveries and inventions all remain a testament to humans and their incredible abilities to create, innovate, and develop tools and creations that leave their marks. Although we may never have all the answers to how these monuments came about, or what technologies were used to raise such profound monuments, we can be quite certain of the abilities and marksmanship of those who lived before us. Steven Kubaki. It's the winter of 1978 in the American Midwest, and Steven Kubaki, a student from Hope College, is taking advantage of the last days of February before spring began to go skiing. He leaves his student digs to go on a solo cross-country skiing trip. Kubaki was an accomplished outdoorsman who climbed mountains in Europe and was an avid cross-country skier. Familiar with the area, this was an ordinary weekend pursuit for Kubaki and to those at college who knew him. However, this small excursion would end up being far from ordinary. Several days later, the alarm was raised when Kubaki failed to return from what should have been a day's activity. At the same time, snowmobilers on the southeastern shore of Lake Michigan had come across a set of abandoned skis and ski poles. The police knew immediately who they belonged to. A search party was sent out, utilizing both land and air rescue, with helicopters and locals deployed to find Steven. Only 2 more things were subsequently discovered: Steven's backpack and his footprints in the deep frozen snow. There was something off about the scene, however. The backpack looked as if it had been abruptly thrown to the ground, and the heavy footprints disappeared into nothingness as if Kubaki had walked out of reality. Looking to close off the case with a sense of logic, police figured a more rational explanation. Close to the shores of frozen Lake Michigan, Steven must have removed his skis and wandered too close to the water, falling through the ice and drowning into the watery depths below. His friends grieved, his family mourned, and life returned to normal as the months passed by. That is until 15 months later, Steven Kubaki walked straight through the door of his family house over 500 miles away. Steven told his recollection of events as best he could. That day, May 5th, 1979, he woke up on a grassy knoll in Massachusetts, some 700 miles due east from where he disappeared. He was wearing clothes that were not his, had items such as maps and signs that were neither his nor written by him, and he had no concept of the amount of time that had passed. It was only when he was able to purchase a newspaper he would realize that he had re-emerged to consciousness 15 months later than when he first set off. The last thing he remembered before this was striding forwards on his skis as he made his way around Lake Michigan. Before he knew it, however, he experienced a momentary blip, being enveloped in a cold and frozen darkness that hurried him from one point to another, which felt like he was running. Aside from this, he had no other details to give, and yet the mystery of what happened that day in February 1978 was perhaps less about Kubaki and more about where he was. Urban myths run rife that Lake Michigan is home to cross-dimensional disappearances, essentially the Bermuda Triangle of the Great Lakes. It's not just Kubaki who went missing in this area. Ships, planes, and other people have all disappeared and for whom there was never any trace of again. As of today, Kubaki's disappearance and reappearance remains a mystery. Joshua Maddox. Joshua Maddox was a normal 18-year-old who lived in the Pike National Forest in Teller County, Colorado in 2008. He loved nature and hiking, so when he left to go on a walk one day, nobody thought anything of it until he failed to return that night. His disappearance sparked searches all over the area for months, hoping to uncover Josh safe and sound, or at least get some answers as to what might have happened to him. However, he was never found and continued to be listed as a missing person for years. In a seemingly unrelated course of events, in 2015, a builder who owned an old, decaying cabin in the woods that had been abandoned for over 10 years decided to demolish it in order to begin developing the land that it stood on. Before demolition, the builder came out to check that everything was in order and entered the cabin for the first time in many years. He noticed a smell of rot and decay in the cabin, but attributed it to the many animals who made the decrepit building their home in the intervening years. However, when demolition began, starting with taking apart the chimney to reuse the bricks, workers were horrified to discover that there was a body of a young man inside the chimney, which was likely the source of the smell. The police and coroner were called to investigate and remove the body, and his dental records positively identified it as the body of Joshua Maddox. Maddox was found in a fetal position, with his legs curled up under his chest and his feet above his head, leading investigators to hypothesize that he might have gotten stuck in an attempt to enter the abandoned building and explore. Although the coroner agreed with this guess, as the autopsy did not reveal any trauma or suspicious substances and ruled the end of his life as accidental, there are those who disagree. For example, a heavy metal grate covering the chimney had disappeared and a heavy breakfast bar had been forcibly removed from the wall and dragged in front of the chimney to cover it. Additionally, many thought it was odd that Joshua would have voluntarily entered the chimney head first, and his clothing was found folded inside of the cabin next to the fireplace. He had only been wearing a thin thermal shirt when he entered the chimney. Despite several tip-offs and leads claiming that Joshua was finished off, the police were never able to determine what had actually happened, and the case remains a mystery to this day. The mystery of Marion Lynn Carver. In 2004, Marion Lynn Carver took a vacation cruise liner from Seattle, Washington to Vancouver, British Columbia. She boarded the ship on August 27th, but was last seen by her cabin attendant the next day. She never got off at any of the 4 stops along the way and did not board her return flight home to Boston, Massachusetts. She has been considered missing since then, despite years of her family searching for her. Carver was a 40-year-old single mother to 1 daughter. She had secretly booked a celebrity cruise trip for herself and left without telling any of her family members. Her father first reported her missing on September 7th, after her daughter called him asking for her mother's whereabouts. The police only realized she had left for a cruise after looking into her credit card records. The cruise line never reported her missing, despite constant memos from her attendant. He had noticed that her bed had not been slept in on the first night, but was ordered to ignore it and clean the room as usual. He submitted 5 notices to his supervisor about Carver's absence, but was told that someone else would handle it. The supervisor gathered Carver's belongings, but did not attempt to notify police or search for the missing passenger. The cruise line only reported Carver's disappearance after her father reached out to them. By then, the supervisor had already donated most of her possessions and only kept her purse and documents in storage. As per the cruise line's regulations, missing passengers must be reported, so Celebrity Cruises immediately fired this employee. Nonetheless, the cruise line was unhelpful in the search for Carver. They claimed her disappearance was most likely due to jumping overboard and did not attempt to investigate. It took nearly a month from her first disappearance for the family to learn that she had booked a cruise and an additional 3 days for the voyage to confirm that she was a passenger. Despite pleas from the father and personal investigators, Celebrity Cruise barely helped in the investigation. They claimed to delete surveillance footage after a few days, even though they kept it for 30 days. When the father asked for it, they ended up accidentally deleting the footage. He ended up hiring private investigators to try and figure out what happened to his daughter, spending over the next few years nearly $75,000. Carver's father had so much frustration with the investigation and cruise line that he ended up suing the company over her disappearance and lack of action. He founded the International Cruise Victims Organization in 2006 and constantly lobbied Congress to enact laws and regulations to hold cruise ships responsible for accidents and loss of life. He became the leading campaigner for cruise ship safety, initiating the Cruise Vessel Security and Safety Act of 2010. He was even awarded the Ronald Wilson Reagan Public Policy Award from the U.S. Department of Justice in 2017 for his work. Despite all of his hard work and dedication to the safety of cruise ship passengers, he never learned the truth of what happened to his daughter. Carver's father died in December 2019 at 83 years old, with her case still unsolved. The Lost Ark of the Covenant. As the Israelites were making their way across the Sinai Desert after their departure from Egypt, Moses, with strict orders from God himself, commanded them to construct the infamous Ark of the Covenant. Inside the Ark is home to numerous tablets engraved with the 10 Commandments from the Hebrew Bible that are believed to host magical powers, both good and evil. The tablets are believed to be made of gold from the Garden of Eden, representing the morality of the universe. Like any biblical story, the truth of the matter is up to interpretation. Scholars who have studied the lost Ark of the Covenant have debated whether the Ark is made of gold or wood or both, what kind of powers it has, and ultimately where it ended up after vanishing from Jerusalem in 587 BC. God gave the Israelites extremely specific instructions for building the Ark of the Covenant. According to God, the Ark should be made of both wood and gold. However, the wood must be acacia wood that is 3.75 feet long and 2.25 feet wide. God then instructed the builders to sheath the wood with gold both inside and out. There was to be a cherub facing a certain direction on the lid of the chest, with its wings spread upward, casting a shadow below. To imagine that Israelites wandering through the desert for 40 years were expected to create such an artistic masterpiece with only their hands and some gold is a huge undertaking, even with God's guidance. To make this story more believable to modern people, it is now believed that God chose only one man to be the designer of the Ark and gifted him the skills he would need to complete the task. One of the most popular theories is that the Israelites used the Ark to gain advantages on their way to conquer Canaan after their extended journey through the desert. According to the Hebrew Bible, the Ark had the ability to stop water from flowing in the Jordan River so that the founders of the Ark could carry it across. It is also believed to have helped the Israelites in various battles on their way across the desert. Because the Ark was thought to be so powerful and had brought the Israelites such good fortune, it became a hot commodity. It was eventually stolen from the Israelites, but shortly thereafter, the thieves were swept with disease and fatal illnesses, causing them to return to the Ark immediately. Once the Israelites had reached Shiloh, the Ark was taken by King David and given to Solomon to be brought to Jerusalem, where it would stay in the temple. Roughly 2,000 years ago, the Ark disappeared once again. Scholars predict that the Ark was stolen for its supposed powers and is now hidden in Ethiopia at the St. Mary of Zion Cathedral. The cathedral has a monk called the Guardian, who is the only person allowed to see the Ark. There has been no authentication of the Ark to determine if it is the original from the Bible stories. Other theories run rampant about the true location of the artifact. The Book of Maccabees states that the Ark is hidden in a cave in Mount Nebo and will remain unfound until called upon by God. At that point, we will know that God is giving us mercy because of the prolific powers that the Ark holds for human beings. Still, there is always discussion about the Ark being revealed only when the Messiah comes to earth to rescue his people. And finally, the Ark is also believed to reveal itself only in the final days in the existence of the universe. MV Joyita. The almost unsinkable MV Joyita was found in poor condition and drifting near Fiji 5 weeks after it disappeared. It was partially submerged, but it wasn't sunk. However, by the time it was discovered, its 25 crew and passengers were all long gone, with the cargo and 3 life rafts. If you were one of the passengers, knowing that the ship you are on has a very strong structure, would you have risked sailing on a life raft in an open sea at night instead of staying aboard? The logical answer would be a resounding no. But what exactly happened that night? Nobody knows. It all started on October 3rd, 1955. MV Joyita left Apia Harbour in Samoa bound for the Tokelau Islands, which is about 270 miles away. It was originally scheduled to leave the day before, but it had an issue with its port engine clutch. It eventually sailed the next day running on only one engine. It had 16 crew members and 9 passengers, including 1 doctor. MV Joyita was expected to reach Tokelau in no more than 48 hours. It was supposed to arrive on October 5th, 1955. It was already a day overdue when the port of Whakauwha reported that MV Joyita never made it. No distress signal was received from the crew, which left everyone with no clues as to what happened. A search and rescue team was sent the same day, and for a whole week they tried to find answers, but they came back with nothing. It wasn't until November 10th, 1955, when the captain of another merchant ship sighted MV Joyita drifting 600 miles off its course. It was found slightly submerged and empty. All its passengers and more than 4 tons of cargo were all gone. Based on the remaining fuel, the ship made it about 243 miles on its course before the engine failed due to a pipe leak in the engine cooling system. The radio system was found to have been functioning, but only had a reach of 2 miles. Even if the ship had sent a distress signal, it would never have been received. However, this could have been easily fixed by one of the members of the crew. These findings create a deeper mystery surrounding the real events that happened that night. For decades, numerous theories have been suggested, but today we are going to focus on the 2 most controversial ones. The first theory accuses the Japanese forces of having kidnapped and killed the passengers of MV Joyita. The year 1955 was still around the time when Japanese forces were to blame concerning any sea vessel disappearances in this area. The MV Joyita might have witnessed something that they shouldn't have, which made them a target of a Japanese group. This would also explain the missing cargo, as it could have been transferred to another ship. The second theory has something to do with Captain Thomas H. Miller, the captain of MV Joyita. He knew that the ship was sturdy and could at least keep them all safe until the daytime. However, the evidence found on the recovered ghost ship proves that the passengers left at night. According to a close friend of the captain, knowing him, he would have never left the ship even if it cost him his life, and yet the captain was gone along with the rest of the people aboard. One of the most logical explanations for this could be that the captain was injured or somehow incapacitated. This theory has gained credence following the discovery of blood-stained bandages on the ship. The many ghost sightings at Ye Olde Man and Scythe. Most hauntings, especially repeated sightings or spooky occurrences, revolve around a location with a history of loss of life, sickness, or a vengeful owner. Ye Olde Man and Scythe in Bolton, England, has a little bit of each of these qualifications, making it a prime candidate for the paranormal. It is one of the oldest pubs in Great Britain, dating back to at least 1251, making it almost 800 years old. The location has seen its fair share of ghosts and hauntings. It was rebuilt and has changed hands throughout the centuries. However, its most famous owner was likely the family of James Stanley, 7th Earl of Derby, in the 1600s. James Stanley was complicit in the siege of Bolton, which resulted in more than 1,000 residents being slaughtered in what came to be known as the Bolton Massacre. Stanley fled the area but was captured 7 years later in the Battle of Worcester and was brought back to the still angry residents of Bolton and faced losing his life due to his crimes. He was allowed to stay in the prayer room of his family pub in the hours before his execution as he awaited his fate. He was beheaded just outside the pub in the Market Square on October 15th, 1651, and it is said that he still haunts the cellar of Ye Olde Man and Scythe to this day. The chair that he supposedly sat in as he awaited his final moments is still inside the pub, adding to circulating rumours of Stanley's ghost haunting the premises. Although Stanley is the most famous ghost suspected of lingering on the premises, there is a long history of hauntings at the location. One set of paranormal experts recorded multiple voices with their ghost hunting equipment. Several amateur ghost hunters, as well as closed-circuit security footage, have also caught unsuspecting spirits lingering in doorways and around the property. In one instance, the owner of the property came in to open the pub and noticed that a single glass had been smashed on the floor. Suspicious, he went to check the security footage and found that the feed had inexplicably stopped at 6:18 a.m. The last thing visible on the video was a strange, ghostly figure appearing out of nowhere, which some believe to be Stanley himself. The owners of the pub have claimed that at least 25 restless spirits currently wander the property, among them a woman who is said to have hanged herself in the cellar several centuries ago, a small girl, and a phantom dog. Although many say the security footage was an easily pulled off hoax, there is no doubt that the long history of battles, murders, and illnesses that the pub has lived through could mean that several ghosts still linger on the property, haunting visitors. Artificial intelligence could not crack the code. In 2018, artificial intelligence endeavoured to figure out the 600-year-old code, though even the AI could not reliably figure out what this code said. The Voynich manuscript appears to contain between 25 and 30 characters, as interpretations have been varied, and is written from left to right by a single hand. It is made up of 102 parchment folios, meaning it reaches approximately an astounding 234 pages in length. This objective information is minimal and does not necessarily aid in solving the mystery as to the original language the manuscript was written in. The manuscript is written in an unidentified language, using an alphabet that has not been seen elsewhere prior to the manuscript's discovery or after it was found. Many believe it has been written using a substitution cipher. This involves the letters of an existing language being exchanged for made-up letters to create a code. Typically, a substitution cipher is considered the simplest code, and is one of the oldest methods of encrypting a text. If it really is such a simple code, then why haven't scientists been able to translate the manuscript? Scientists have no idea what the original language is to begin figuring out where the substitutions have been made. Bradley Hauer and Gregor Kondrak aimed to use computational analysis in order to find a country the text may have originated from, or a language it was written in. Numerous algorithms were trained to pick up the statistical fingerprint of the text and compare it to existing, established languages to attempt to find a match. Factors such as the frequency of each letter and combinations of letters were used. Hauer and Kondrak began using this software on the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. They input 380 languages. This trial appeared to work and be successful, so they moved forward with their research. A computational linguist at Illinois Institute of Technology stated that the results were in debate, but not more so than many other results often published in the scientific literature. The next step in their artificial intelligence testing and research was for Kondrak and Hauer to apply these algorithms to the infamous Voynich manuscript, but this was where the pair began to encounter numerous issues. The initial obstacle is that the algorithm was trained to trace modern languages. The evolution of languages regarding vocabulary, grammar, syntax, and spelling is massive, and so languages we use today are incredibly different to the same languages in the late medieval or early modern societies, which is when the manuscript was traced back to in the 15th century. Another problematic element of the AI research is that while suggestions are made for the closest matches, the probability of this being a match is not considered. Kondrak and Hauer claimed to have discovered the source language, Hebrew, through their algorithm. However, this was the closest match of the 380 languages they inputted, but was not a certain match. Other matches that were considered close, for example Malay, are drastically different from Hebrew, and so the validity of this algorithm may be deemed very low. The lack of evaluation regarding how likely each language is means that Hebrew may have been the closest match available, but not necessarily similar enough to the source language for a substitution code. The final hurdle, and perhaps the factor that is a deal-breaker in the validity of their research, is that Kondrak and Hauer suggested the Voynich manuscript is written using not only a substitution cipher, but that it was also written in anagrams, having the letters within each word jumbled up too. Whilst this has been suggested before, it is certainly not a proven fact, just a theory. Kondrak and Hauer used Google Translate, which has a reputation for forcing nonsensical words and phrases into coherent, fluent sentences. Despite all the indicators that their work should be and would be disregarded, Kondrak and Hauer claimed the first sentence of the Voynich manuscript to be as follows: "She made recommendations to the priest, man of the house, and me and people." The sensationalist media headlines stated that the Voynich manuscript had been deciphered and translated, and while we may have been drawn closer, the flawed methodology of Kondrak and Hauer's work means the translation holds little weight. Maybe future artificial intelligence can solve this mystery, but for now, we still don't know. The mysterious plants, codes, and astronomical signs that feature in the book. Perhaps even more puzzling than the mysterious Voynich language appears to be written in are the bizarre illustrations, doodles, and diagrams that accompany the unknown writing. Images included in the manuscript depict strange plants, astrological diagrams, castles, dragons, and perhaps the most puzzling image, an unclothed woman in what appears to be a bath. While some outlandish theories suggest ancient water park designs, others suggest medicinal information or even alien technology. One theory, posed by Dr. Cheshire, a linguist at Bristol University, suggested it was a manual covering relationships and parenting, written in a code based off of a proto-Romantic language. Dr. Cheshire believes it aligns with the Catholic and Roman pagan beliefs held by many Mediterranean Europeans in the 15th century. Dr. Cheshire states that he believed the Voynich manuscript was written by Dominican nuns. Bristol University commented, following media coverage, concerns have been raised about the validity of this research, and went on to ensure it is known that Dr. Cheshire's work is not affiliated with the university. However, perhaps the most common guess is that the Voynich manuscript details medical information. Medicine in the early modern and medieval periods contained lots of myths. Herbal remedies were common, explaining the plant diagrams, and many believed there was a correlation between the position of the stars and individuals' health, hence zodiac images being included. Furthermore, a bath was thought to cure many illnesses, explaining the image of the unclothed woman bathing. This suggests that health and medicine is a common factor between a fair few of the illustrations in the Voynich manuscript. The medicinal theory has been suggested by many, one of whom is historian Nicholas Gibbs in 2017. He offered the suggestion that the images centered health for the reasons just mentioned, but also that the manuscript was a pseudo-scientific women's health manual. He, like many others, claimed to have solved the code, and believed the absurdly complex codes were Latin abbreviations, and that the Voynich manuscript was written in common shorthand that would have been understood in the 15th century, and was not code that needed to be broken. His work was heavily criticised and ultimately discredited because Nicholas Gibbs either reiterated ideas people before him had suggested and his own theories, the translated sentences made little to no grammatical sense in Latin. The dismissal of Nicholas Gibbs's research ultimately means the contents of the Voynich manuscript remain a mystery, but the bizarre images seem to have an underlying theme. The Voynich manuscript appears to be split into 7 distinct sections. Botanical, containing imagery of herbs and plants. Astronomical, with pictures such as the sun, moon, and stars. Cosmological, illustrated with circular geometric designs. The Zodiac section, containing drawings of the zodiac signs. Biological, which has depictions of unclothed women in various baths. Pharmaceutical, with images of containers and herbs side by side. And finally, the recipe section, which contains no illustrations, merely lines of text with stars in the margin. These theories are simply based upon where certain images lie within the text. As of today, the manuscript remains a mystery. The more time that passes, the more speculation and rumours continue to grow, and every few years we can be sure someone new will step forward announcing that they have found a new translation. But with so many experts eager to add to the research, such claims are often quickly refuted. Great minds are puzzled by the nature of the Voynich manuscript. The Cold War saw the involvement of the FBI, fearing it was a coded form of communist propaganda, and still no solution or understanding was found. Will we ever figure out this impossible code? Arguably the world's most mysterious book, allegedly figured out over and over, and still nobody can read it. Linguists, historians, and cryptographers have puzzled over it for centuries and will continue to do so until we solve this mystery. What lies within the Voynich manuscript?
Someone by the name of Nalani posted a strange photograph on social media, claiming that it was captured during the Hawaii wildfires. Since the fires have started, various theories have been put forward to explain what happened. Deep within the confines of a forest in Hawaii, a local was able to capture a mysterious photograph. Those who saw the image said that the beam can be seen hitting the forest. Part of the forest can be seen emitting large amounts of smoke, and it was at this point that locals started to move away from the area. Oddly enough, the individual who took the photograph said that it wasn't until they viewed their photo album that they noticed the strange laser-like formation. It's important to note that this isn't the first time that these mysterious objects have been seen, and as of right now, a variety of different explanations have been put forward to explain what they are. Some have said that they are natural phenomena, and that this happens during natural weather changes. Others went down a different path and suggested that the beam is man-made. According to military officials, these energy beams do exist, but said that they are not used within these environments, and further detail that they are called energy weapons, and they operate on the principle of concentrating electromagnetic energy and delivering it to a target. Unlike traditional kinetic weapons that rely on projectiles, this new weaponry emits focused beams of energy that can travel at the speed of light, enabling almost instantaneous target engagement. These energy weapons offer a range of applications across various domains, including military, space, and civilian sectors. In the military realm, these provide advantages such as precision targeting, reduced collateral damage, and a virtually unlimited ammunition supply, as they rely on energy sources like electricity rather than physical munitions. However, those who have seen the photograph have said that there's no reason why this would be used in such an area. Some have suggested that it could have been a fire tornado. Fire tornadoes, also known as fire whirls, are a captivating meteorological phenomenon that marries the destructive force of fire with the mesmerizing spirals of a tornado. These unique occurrences are not only awe-inspiring but also serve as a testament to the intricate interplay of atmospheric conditions, fire behavior, and fluid dynamics. Fire tornadoes, although rare, have been documented in various parts of the world, where conditions are conducive to their formation. They typically arise in the midst of large wildfires or intense industrial fires, where the combination of intense heat, convective currents, and turbulent winds creates the ideal environment for their genesis. The interaction between the heat of the fire and the surrounding cool air triggers an updraft, setting the stage for the development of a fire tornado. The basic formation of a fire tornado involves a rising column of hot, buoyant air that twists and spirals due to the influence of crosswinds. As the fire generates intense heat, it heats the surrounding air, causing it to rise rapidly. This hot air column begins to rotate due to the Coriolis effect, caused by the Earth's rotation and the interaction with the inflowing cooler air. This rotation becomes more pronounced as the fire's heat and intensity increase, leading to the characteristic swirling motion that defines a fire tornado. The mechanics behind fire tornadoes are rooted in the principles of fluid dynamics and convection. The rising column of hot air behaves like a vortex, drawing in additional air from its surroundings. This inflow of air intensifies the rotation, creating a self-sustaining cycle. As the fire tornado gains strength, it can develop into a complex and dynamic structure, with multiple vortices forming within the main whirl. According to the latest update on August 14th, the number of fatalities resulting from the wildfires has risen to 96, solidifying these wildfires' status as the most lethal in modern history. As of Saturday, authorities have cautioned that the search and identification process for the victims is still in its initial phases. Despite the dedicated efforts of search teams, they have only covered a mere 3% of the extensive search area. It is crucial to note that this ongoing operation is complex and requires meticulous attention to detail. On Sunday, Hawaii Island experienced the occurrence of not one, but two small earthquakes near the vicinity of Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. Based on information from the U.S. Geological Survey, two relatively minor earthquakes with a magnitude of 2.6 each were recorded. These seismic events took place in the vicinity of Volcano Town, specifically 5.3 miles west-northwest of the area. A second earthquake, measuring 4.3 on the magnitude scale, struck at 1 in the afternoon. The earthquake originated approximately 5 miles south-southeast of Volcano, within the well-known Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. According to recent reports, the initial data released by the United States Geological Survey indicated 3 separate earthquakes. However, upon closer examination, it was discovered that the second and third quakes occurred just 5 seconds apart and are now considered to be part of the same seismic event. This observation has prompted a reconsideration of the initial findings. According to the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center, there is currently no imminent threat of a tsunami. Hawaii is a place that has experienced wildfires on multiple occasions, but the recent ones that have occurred over the past few days are being labelled as some of the most severe in the history of the archipelago. The toll taken by these fires has been absolutely devastating, and while the exact cause is still being investigated, their impact has been far-reaching and profound. The combination of hurricane-force winds and arid conditions played a significant role in intensifying the wildfires. The occurrence of drought or abnormally dry conditions has significantly impacted vast regions of Hawaii, with particular focus on the entirety of Maui Island. This phenomenon has played a substantial role in the prevailing situation. According to the US Drought Monitor, approximately 14% of the state is currently experiencing either severe or moderate drought conditions. Furthermore, a staggering 80% of Hawaii is classified as being abnormally dry. This means that a significant portion of the state is facing a shortage of water, which can have detrimental effects. Dry weather conditions have the detrimental effect of sapping the moisture from plant life, thereby rendering it more susceptible to ignition and subsequent propagation of fire. Scientists have conducted extensive calculations and determined that a significant decrease in rainfall has occurred in approximately 90% of the Hawaiian Islands when compared to the levels recorded 100 years ago.
Nikki MacCauley. Marilyn Renee MacCauley, known as Nikki, disappeared on July 22, 2001 in Richmond, Indiana. When she vanished, Nikki was 28 years old and the mother of a 9-year-old girl. She was also engaged to Bobby Webster and worked as a prison guard and was one of 10 children stemming from a close and loving family. 3 weeks before her wedding day, she visited her mother. Nikki was allegedly distraught over being harassed by 2 men at a laundromat. The men frightened her to the degree she was unable to retrieve her laundry but eventually left to pick it up. And just like that, she disappeared. Authorities claim there were no traces of foul play or a clear motive for her disappearance. On the day of her vanishing, her fiancé Bobby was at a tuxedo shop with his best man with the intent of meeting with Nikki later that day to spend quality time together. Her family worked closely with the police to theorize the reasons for her disappearance. The first theory was that she was kidnapped by the 2 men who accosted her that day. However, they were never identified or found. The second suspect was Bobby due to his strange behavior following her disappearance. He cancelled their wedding instead of postponing it. Secondly, he asked for her community college tuition back and was angered upon the discovery it was paid by for her workplace. Thirdly, Bobby attempted to return his wedding ring but could not because it was bought under Nikki's name. According to him, it was out of a desire to obtain the necessary funds to continue searching for her and to purchase a mobile phone, which at the time was still a luxury item. Bobby was tested using a polygraph test he allegedly failed, but his lawyer argues he was not permitted to see the results. Her car was found 3 months later outside of an apartment in Ohio in Dayton, which was a 45-minute drive from her Richmond home. The police found evidence that the car had been meddled with, a broken door lock and stolen stereo, but without a trace of fingerprints or DNA for potential suspects. Nikki's laundry was still within the car, meaning she safely left the laundromat. Nikki's ex lived in the apartment where her car was found, but had a solid alibi of working the day she vanished and is believed by the police to be uninvolved in the case due to a successful polygraph test. Nikki had a co-worker in Dayton and could have driven to them after picking up her laundry. A prominent theory suggests the guilty party drove the car to the apartment to conceal their involvement. This theory strengthened Bobby as the main suspect despite his claims of innocence. Finally, Tommy Swint, her co-worker, was a third suspect, a security guard and corrections officer. Swint attempted to join the police force but was made to resign due to being a suspect in the case. In 2007, the police were contacted and told to investigate Swint via Tina Ivory, who at the time was a Dayton prostitute, but her life was taken from her in 1991, and who Swint supposedly dated. Nikki's sister revealed in 2008 that Swint and Nikki had an affair. In the same year, the blood and semen on Tina were matched with Swint's DNA. Swint took his life before he could be prosecuted. He is now considered the prime suspect not only in Nikki's case, but in multiple others. But this case is to forever remain unsolved, given Swint is deceased and unable to testify or be charged. Her body was never found, and she's still officially reported as missing. Rachel Cook. Rachel Louise Cook was last seen in Georgetown, Texas on the 10th of January 2002. She was a 19-year-old student of Mesa Junior College. Rachel was spending winter break at her parents' house when she disappeared. She allegedly went on a morning run from which she never returned. Investigators claim she likely left her home at 9:30 a.m. She was spotted by her neighbors at 11 a.m. 200 yards from her house, but Rachel never made it home. When her father, Robert, arrived home at 3 p.m. to take his daughter shopping, she was nowhere to be found. Her family started a wide-scale search for her, but not a single clue or trace of her was ever discovered to allude to her whereabouts. A car with white and black stripes along the hood was seen riding around Rachel's neighborhood on the tragic day, but revealed no outward suspects. In 2006, Michael Keith Moore, an inmate, confessed to taking the life of Rachel Cook whilst already convicted for taking the life of someone else. Moore declared he kidnapped her and hit her using a hammer, then dropped her remains into the Gulf of Mexico. Despite his accurate confession, the charges were dropped when Moore confessed to lying about what happened before he was set to plead guilty. The case reopened in 2017 when someone tipped the authorities about traces of a buried body in a field, thinking it might belong to her, but they found nothing from the investigation. The following year, the police announced they found a car matching the description of the one seen riding in her neighborhood the day of her disappearance, a Pontiac Trans. The car was found in Dallas. The car was analyzed with the hopes of finding DNA samples. The analysis of the trunk of the car revealed the possible presence of blood. A search was conducted in December 2020, but its results are unknown. As recently as January 2021, authorities publicly stated they were searching for a man who they believe has intel about her disappearance, who lived in Georgetown in 2002 and knew Rachel. It's thought this man was part of the cattle industry and that he possesses details which might help the case. It's thought he is attempting to distance himself from the case, but allegedly this individual mentioned specific details of the disappearance to his friend, which put the police on edge. Unfortunately, in 2014, Rachel's father passed away, never knowing what became of his daughter. There is a $100,000 reward for those who are able to assist in the solving of the case or who possess valuable information regarding it. Now, 20 years later, it's unlikely that the mystery will ever be solved, but hope continues. Authorities doubt Rachel is still alive, but if she is, that would make her 39 years old. Throughout these 2 decades, the family and county sheriff's office have tracked down a myriad of fruitless anonymous tips. Rachel's mother holds out faith for the truth, having stated, "Somebody out there knows something. There is no doubt in my mind. It's just a matter of them knowing they need to come forward with that information." As a child, Rachel put her handprint on the wooden panel in her home. All 3 of my children put their little handprints and wrote their name. Rachel did a happy face with a freckle. This, along with photographs and souvenirs, are all a mother has left of her daughter. The disappearance of Angela Freeman. "Mama, I love you. I'll see you Friday." Those were the last words that Deborah Freeman ever heard from her daughter. Soon after, the 17-year-old named Angela Freeman told her mother that she was going to spend Thursday night with her friend. However, 2 days later, the 1984 Honda Accord car that she had just handed her mother a cash payment for was found abandoned near a bridge in Missouri. Angela was nowhere to be found. To make matters even worse, she was 4 months pregnant at the time. In the beginning, authorities simply shrugged it off as a missing persons case. Even though mobile phones did not exist back then, missing teenagers were bound to show up within a day or two. Yet, that was not the case for Angela. Instead of finding her daughter safe and sound, Deborah found blood on the car instead. In fear, they instantly notified the police. It turns out that what was dismissed as merely transmission fluid. After this, blood was confirmed to be found next to her car. After numerous diver and cadaver dog searches around the area, all that was discovered were her shoes found in 2 separate areas. Suddenly, this case transformed from a disappearance to a homicide. No one could sit around and wait for her to show any longer. The detectives revealed that Angela was last seen outside of an old Pizza Hut at around 1 a.m. on a Friday. Her whereabouts after she'd left couldn't be traced. They suspected that a man who was seen washing his car and hunting near the bridge area was involved, but they did not have enough evidence to confirm anything. No matter how desperate everyone was to find Angela, it seemed that all hope was lost. It has been decades since she said goodbye to her mother on that fateful day of September 8, 1993. Even though Angela herself was so excited to be a mother, she would never be able to realize that dream. However, people like Police Captain Rusty Keys have still not given up. In due time, Angela Freeman's disappearance might no longer stay a mystery. The disappearance of Maurice Gordon, Doc Dametz. Maurice Gordon Doc Dametz was an 84-year-old Christian reverend of whom had a relatively successful writing career during his time working as a Christian leader of his small community, with a number of successful publications under his belt, such as his works titled Focal Points of Christian History, Troubled Transformed, Burden Bearing, Mystery of Godliness, and Dead at the Top. Unfortunately, Doc Dametz was suffering from a severe blood disorder that made it difficult for him to be alone and had severe arthritis complications that prevented him from being able to move without assistance. Despite these physical limitations, Doc Dametz enjoyed spending his free time venturing out into the wilderness to locate ideal locations for mining precious gems and minerals. Dametz had been a fan of leading his own private expeditions in the field of geology and would often invite a close friend of his to accompany him when making trips out into the national parks or empty stretches of wilderness to assist him during the trip and help him move throughout different pieces of rugged terrain. Doc's fascination for the field of geology would eventually lead him to joining the American Federation of Mineral Societies and Flatiron Gem and Mineral Club, becoming an experienced veteran of private expeditions and mining efforts. It is for all these reasons that it came as a shock to the wife of Doc Dametz when Doc disappeared suddenly and unexpectedly when venturing out into the Pike National Forest located in the Front Range of Colorado, when taking a trip with his close friend McSherry to find a digging spot for minerals. According to McSherry, the two had found a small sandy pit close to the Rampart Range Road, where McSherry said he had left Dametz to venture out an extra 50 yards to find his own sandy pit to dig from. After about 2 hours of mining, McSherry returned to Doc Dametz and told him they would be driving home soon because it would be getting dark. Doc had said that he would be gathering his tools while McSherry returned to his pit to pack up his things. After McSherry finished packing his things, he returned to Doc Dametz's pit only to find that he had completely disappeared without a trace. When investigations were made, detectives remarked that the disappearance of Doc Dametz seemed perplexing as there was no evidence of a struggle or any footsteps, markings or tracks left behind in any direction. Additionally, all of Doc Dametz's tools went missing with him, with nothing left in the pit to be used as evidence. On the 18th of July 1981, the wife of Maurice Gordon Doc Dametz wrote a letter to her governor, Governor Richard Lamb, asking for any assistance in helping her find her husband. The letter detailed that she believed some form of conspiracy had been committed against her husband, with thoughts that he had met some form of foul play or had been carried away, but that all efforts for an investigation were being impeded by unseen forces. Despite this letter, no further action was taken, with Doc Dametz declared dead in 1990.
The disappearance of Margaret Ellen Fox. Whilst some people tucked out of sight are indeed fugitives, the next case is more likely to pull at your heartstrings as we look into the disappearance of Margaret Ellen Fox, a young girl who was last seen when she was just 14. It was 1974 in Burlington, New Jersey, when Margaret disappeared. Like many young teen girls, she was on her way to a babysitting job, though unfortunately for Margaret, things took an unexpected turn for the worst. The young girl was on her way to meet a man who had named himself as John Marshall. Margaret had placed an ad for her babysitting services, which is how she had met the so-called John Marshall.
Marshall had said he needed a babysitter for the coming weekend, but had delayed or otherwise cancelled several initial meetings with her. When she eventually had plans to meet with the man, he had said that he would meet her in a red Volkswagen in Mount Holly. Young Miss Fox walked beside her sister to the bus stop to make her way to Mount Holly. Her sister watched her get onto the bus, and witnesses have reported having seen her near the high streets once she reached Mount Holly, though she has not been seen since these few sightings. Did she even make it to the alleged John Marshall? We do know that not long after Margaret had been reported to be missing, the police had begun to track and record all calls both in and out of the family home in order to keep tabs on any new leads or necessary information. It was a good job they did, as the family did receive a ransom call demanding $10,000 for Margaret's safe return. The call went as follows: "10,000 might be a lot of bread, but your daughter's life is the buttered topping." It was Margaret's mother who was on the other end of this harrowing phone call. Years later, we still don't know who made this call. It's assumed that the unknown caller and the abductor is one of the same, though they had no clues as to who this may be. The investigation surrounding this disappearance only continued to raise further questions. The number Marshall had given to Margaret turned out to belong to a Lumberton supermarket. This, of course, immediately raised suspicion amongst the authorities. After this, several other parents came forward saying their young teen daughters had had men trying to lure them with false job offers. To this day, the identity of John Marshall remains a mystery. With no further leads and years of efforts, the FBI and Burlington City Police Department have shifted their approach. Despite the lack of arrests, the department has not given up all hope. You can find the recording of the ransom call on the FBI website, uploaded in the hope that someone will recognize the voice of the abductor.
Deep within the heart of the Congo rainforest, where the lush canopy blocks out the sun's rays, allegedly lives a creature of legend and myth, the Jabbar-Fofi spider. Stories of its colossal size and formidable presence echoed through the tales of indigenous tribes and intrigued explorers seeking adventure. One man who describes himself as an explorer recently said that he had journeyed to the Congo rainforest in search of rare flora and fauna, hoping to uncover the secrets of this untamed wilderness. Armed with a backpack and camera, he ventured into the jungle, accompanied only by his trusty guide, Nkosi. Thomas and Nkosi spent several days traversing through the dense undergrowth. They heard the chorus of birds and insects, caught glimpses of fleeting wildlife, and marveled at the emerald beauty surrounding them. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth, and a symphony of nocturnal creatures began to sing their serenades. The following day, as they pushed through a particularly dense thicket, they stumbled upon a vast clearing, and above them was an expansive web stretched out before them. In the center of the colossal web sat a huge spider. Thomas said that he'd never seen a spider this big before and proceeded to take photographs. However, due to how high up the spider was, he said that it was difficult to capture. He also pointed out that there was webbing around the creature, but noted that it doesn't show up in the photos. Thomas then said that Nkosi warned him about this creature, telling him to be cautious, as this spider is venomous. Nkosi told Thomas to back away, sensing that the creature's patience was wearing thin. Natives who live in these regions consider the spider to be the jungle's guardian, and said that it had allowed them a glimpse into its world, but that the time had come for them to leave. As the two explorers retreated from the clearing, Thomas couldn't wait to share his finding, and said that he now feels a newfound appreciation for the rainforest and its mysteries. In the days that followed, Thomas said that they didn't encounter another one of these spiders, but said that due to the experience it's given him a newfound respect for the natural world. Interestingly, this isn't the first time that this creature has allegedly been encountered. The Congo rainforest, one of the most biologically diverse regions on Earth, is steeped in ancient legends and mythical creatures. Among these tales, the legend of the Jabbar-Fofi spider stands out, capturing the imagination of the indigenous peoples of the Congo for generations. The legend of the Jabbar-Fofi spider has its roots in the oral traditions of the indigenous peoples of the Congo region, The term Jabbar Fofi translates to giant spider in the local dialect, reflecting the awe and fear the creature inspires. These tales describe a colossal arachnid that surpasses the size of any known spider species, with some accounts claiming it spans several meters in diameter. In the rich tapestry of Congolese folklore, the spider is often depicted as a guardian of the jungle, inhabiting the deepest and most remote corners of the rainforest. Its presence is believed to be both a symbol of protection and a harbinger of danger, making it an integral part of the cultural fabric of the local communities. Although the spider has captivated the imagination of countless storytellers and adventurers, there is a distinct lack of concrete evidence to support its existence. Reported sightings of the creature are scarce and often shrouded in ambiguity. Most accounts come from indigenous people or local guides, who recount their encounters with the mythical arachnid during jungle expeditions. One notable instance of alleged evidence came in the form of oversized spider webs discovered in the Congo jungle. In 2009, a British researcher documented the presence of gigantic orb-weaving spider webs spanning up to 2.8 meters in diameter. While these webs are impressive, they have not been conclusively linked to the fabled Jabbar Fofi spider, leaving the mystery unsolved. The legend of the spider has piqued the interest of researchers, particularly those who study creatures that exist in folklore or local legends, but have not been scientifically verified. These researchers aim to uncover hidden and undiscovered species that might have evaded scientific documentation. However, the scientific community remains skeptical of the existence of the spider. The lack of tangible evidence, along with the impossibility of a spider reaching the reported colossal sizes without defying the constraints of biology and physics, leads many scientists to dismiss the creature as a product of local mythology and exaggeration. Despite the absence of concrete evidence, the legend of the Jabbar Fofi spider continues to hold immense cultural significance in the Congo region. It serves as a symbol of the rich biodiversity and mystique of the rainforest, a reminder of the deep spiritual connection that indigenous communities have with their natural surroundings. Moreover, the myth of the spider highlights the importance of conservation efforts in the Congo jungle. While the existence of a giant spider might remain unproven, the region's biodiversity faces real and pressing threats. Preserving the habitat of the Congo jungle is essential for protecting its unique and diverse wildlife, including known species of spiders and other arachnids. The allure of mythical creatures like the Jabbar Fofi spider lies in their ability to capture the imagination and spark wonder. Folklore and legends enrich our understanding of the world, reflecting the cultural beliefs and values of communities across time and space. In the case of the Jabbar Fofi spider, the legend serves as a cautionary tale, urging respect for the wilderness and appreciation for the marvels of nature. These tales often serve as cautionary stories, cultural markers, or explanations for natural phenomena. Among these traditions, the legend of the Jabbar Fofi spider holds a prominent place, passing through countless storytellers' voices, each adding their own nuances to the narrative. According to indigenous beliefs, the spider is not just a gigantic arachnid, but also a guardian of the jungle. Tales describe it as dwelling in the deepest, most remote parts of the rainforest, protecting the natural order of the ecosystem. The spider is both revered and feared, as its presence is associated with balance and harmony, but also signals potential danger lurking in the wilderness. The cultural significance of the Jabbar Fofi spider extends beyond its mythical attributes. For the native communities, it represents a spiritual connection with nature, instilling a sense of awe and respect for the mysteries of the Congo rainforest. Among the indigenous communities, stories of actual encounters with the Jabbar Fofi spider are passed down as first-hand testimonies. These encounters are often described in vivid detail, evoking the creature's awe-inspiring size and its imposing presence. However, it is essential to acknowledge that these testimonies are embedded within cultural contexts and may be subject to embellishments or interpretations over time. One such account comes from a member of the Mbuti pygmy tribe. The tribesman narrates an encounter with a colossal spider while deep in the rainforest. According to the story, the spider stood as tall as a man, with its legs extending far beyond human reach. The tribesman described the creature as a powerful guardian of the jungle, urging his fellow tribespeople to show reverence and gratitude for the spider's protection. Another account comes from the Baka people, who described the spider as a watchful guardian that protects the forest from those who disrespect its sanctity. These accounts highlight the spider's role as a symbol of ecological preservation and cultural heritage among the native communities. The myth of the spider cannot be fully understood without recognizing its cultural context. For the indigenous people of the Congo, the creature embodies the interplay between reality and mythology, reflecting their deep connection to the rainforest and its mystical aspects. It serves as a reminder of the importance of maintaining a harmonious relationship with the natural world, acknowledging the interconnectedness between humans and the environment. While the existence of the giant Congo spider remains a matter of myth and mystery, its legend continues to resonate within the hearts of the indigenous peoples. The stories of encounters and testimonies enrich our understanding of the Congo's cultural heritage and the ecological significance of its rainforest. Embracing the Jabar Fofi spider myth with cultural appreciation and a scientific mindset can foster a deeper appreciation for the complexities of our natural world and the importance of preserving it for generations to come. In the heart of the dense and enigmatic Congo rainforest, a creature of legend and mystery has captivated the imaginations of locals and adventurers alike, the Kongamato. This mythical creature, also known as the overturner of boats, is said to be a fearsome flying creature with a reputation for attacking humans and livestock. The Kongamato's legend has its roots in the folklore of the Kayonde and Bashilanga tribes, who inhabit the regions surrounding the Luapula River in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The term Kongamato translates to breaker of boats or overturner of boats, as it is said to target travelers on the river, causing their boats to capsize. Described as a large bat-like or pterosaur-like creature with leathery wings, the Kongamato is believed to be carnivorous, preying on fish, small animals, and even humans. Tales of its piercing screech and powerful claws add to its fearsome reputation, and its presence is often seen as an omen of misfortune or death. The Kongamato holds immense cultural significance in the local traditions and beliefs of the Congo communities. It serves as a cautionary tale, warning against dangerous encounters with the unknown and the potential consequences of straying into the realm of the spirits. The legend also embodies the spiritual connection between these indigenous communities and the natural world. As guardians of their lands, these tribes have developed deep reverence for the creatures that inhabit their environment. The Kongamato's mythical existence reinforces the importance of respecting the balance of nature and adhering to the ancient customs that safeguard their communities. Over the years, there have been numerous accounts of Kongamato sightings and encounters. Witnesses claim to have seen the creature flying at great heights, with some describing it as having a wingspan of up to 30 feet. These reports often coincide with peculiar events or ominous occurrences, further deepening the belief in the creature's existence. One notable encounter comes from the British zoologist Ivan T. Sanderson, who visited the Congo in the 1930s. During his stay, he collected testimonies from local villagers who shared stories of Kongamato sightings and attacks. Although Sanderson himself did not observe the creature, he acknowledged the locals' sincerity and belief in the creature's existence. From a scientific standpoint, explanations for the Kongamato sightings vary. Some researchers propose that the sightings could be attributed to misidentification of known flying creatures, such as large birds or bats, or even misinterpretations of the shadows and light patterns in the dense forest. Additionally, cultural influences and collective beliefs may play a significant role in shaping the perception of the Kongamato. The power of folklore and local legends can influence how individuals interpret and remember their observations, sometimes leading to the creation of a shared mythos. Creatures like the Kongamato hold a special place in the realm of popular culture. While these mysterious creatures have not been formally identified, their allure continues to spark curiosity and fascination among adventurers and researchers. The stories of these creatures also serve as reminders of the importance of biodiversity conservation. The Congo rainforest is one of the world's most significant biodiversity hotspots, home to countless species of flora and fauna, some of which are yet to be discovered and described by science. Protecting these ecosystems is crucial, not only for preserving the habitats of known species, but also for the potential discovery of new and mysterious creatures that may dwell within. The legend of the Congamato remains an integral part of the cultural heritage of the Congo, reflecting the spiritual connection between indigenous communities and the natural world. Whether a mythical creature or a case of misidentification, the tales of the Congamato add an air of mystery to the already enigmatic Congo rainforest. As the pursuit of the Congamato continues, it serves as a reminder of the importance of preserving the world's biodiversity-rich ecosystems. The quest to unravel the secrets of the Congo rainforest not only promises potential discoveries, but also underscores the need to protect these precious habitats for generations to come. Ultimately, whether the Congamato is a creature of myth or reality, its legend endures as a symbol of the unexplored and the untamed, drawing us further into the captivating realms of the Congo and the world's untold mysteries. In the age of social media, where the bizarre and extraordinary often find their way into the digital realm, one ordinary evening in Roswell, New Mexico, took an unprecedented turn. It all began when someone on social media uploaded a mysterious photograph. Roswell had long been a town steeped in mystery, its name forever associated with the infamous incident of 1947. The individual said that they found an old photo album filled with black and white photographs. Some of them depicted a small, grey, otherworldly figure laying down in a dimly lit room. Those who saw the photographs said that they recognized the uncanny resemblance of the figure to the descriptions of the alleged crash survivors, a small grey alien. The photograph had an unsettling aura, an eerie greenish glow cast upon the room, and the enigmatic being at its center. Within minutes of the photograph being uploaded to social media, it began to gain traction. Comments poured in, ranging from skepticism to excitement. The social media post had unleashed a storm of speculation, leading some to question whether this was evidence that small humanoids had been found at the site. As of right now, the photographs have sparked a renewed interest in the mysteries of that summer in 1947. On the fateful day of July 8, 1947, a significant event occurred that would not only forever be associated with the Roswell crash in New Mexico, but also shed light on a groundbreaking theory regarding unidentified objects. Surprisingly, it was on this very day that an interdimensional explanation first emerged, providing a potential origin for the enigmatic UAP phenomena. This explanation, however, remained relatively obscure for the next 3 decades, gradually gaining traction over time. Expanding upon this fascinating revelation, it becomes evident that the complexity and intrigue surrounding unidentified objects extend far beyond mere terrestrial explanations. On that particular day, Colonel Jesse Marcel made a public statement through a press release, indicating that the United States Air Force had successfully retrieved an unidentified flying object, along with advanced beings, which had encountered a crash in the state of New Mexico. Regrettably, a subsequent press release was issued, significantly altering the facts presented in the initial statement and transforming the crashed object from an unidentified object to a weather balloon. This revision undoubtedly led to a change in the narrative surrounding the incident. The revised and enhanced theory regarding the weather balloon incident fails to provide any substantial information that would shed light on the perplexing circumstances surrounding Colonel Marcel's mistaken identification of a weather balloon as a crashed advanced craft containing alien remains. This incident is particularly intriguing as Colonel Marcel, a distinguished military officer with a remarkable military record and first-hand involvement in the delivery of the first nuclear weapons employed in warfare, encountered such confusion. On that particular day, the world witnessed the introduction of 3 significant elements on a large scale: unidentified aerial phenomena, the extraterrestrial hypothesis, and the captivating interdimensional hypothesis regarding the origins of both UFOs and UAPs. However, it is worth noting that the latter hypothesis only gained recognition when esteemed scientists like Jacques Vallée began considering the possibility of an alternative origin theory for these extraordinary phenomena, namely the interdimensional explanation. The FBI vault serves as a repository for an extensive collection of declassified files that delve into the enigmatic stories of the past. Among the various subjects that ignite curiosity and captivate public imagination, none can match the enduring intrigue surrounding unidentified objects and aliens. Deep within the vault, the FBI safeguards a multitude of documents that shed light on this extraordinary phenomenon, holding secrets that continue to bewilder and fascinate. Of particular significance within this vast trove is the Memorandum of Importance, which has garnered immense attention by those investigating these events. The narrative surrounding this particular document is far from being a straightforward case of seizing an opportunity disguised under the guise of public service with a supernatural touch. In fact, if one possesses a curiosity to explore further, it reveals a captivating and intricate story. It's crucial, above all, to keep in mind that this event took place in the year 1947. It is truly astonishing to comprehend that Edgar Hoover, who held the powerful position of the Federal Bureau of Investigation Director, displayed little concern for justice and regard for the public's right to be fully informed. Rather, he epitomized an extreme conservative and reactionary mindset that deviated significantly from the norm. His perspectives and ideologies diverged remarkably from those who prioritized fairness, equality, and the ethical dissemination of factual information. In the year 2010, it came to light from the information disclosed on the FBI's The Vault page that a report, specifically Memo 6751, was declassified. This report was prepared in July 1947 by a special agent of the FBI who held the rank of lieutenant colonel. However, due to concerns regarding national security and under Hoover's direction, a report based on an interview with an unidentified flying object witness was intentionally erased. The witness, who had a first-hand encounter with a non-human entity, possessed a wealth of information to share. This revelation sheds new light on the existence of unidentified flying objects and the efforts made to suppress information related to them. The memo, an official document, acknowledges the undeniable existence of advanced beings. This is a matter of great importance, as emphasized by John D'Souza, a former FBI officer. Based on the findings outlined in the report, it has been established that amidst a range of diverse species, we encounter beings not only from alternative planets, but also from alternate dimensions. To be more precise, these entities hail from the ethereal plane, which exists in parallel with our physical universe. These ethereal entities manifest themselves as towering figures with an intriguing translucency, appearing to us as colossal spectres. The central concept being explored in this report is the idea that the interdimensional hypothesis, which posits the existence of alternate dimensions as the source of unidentified object sightings, was initially established concurrently with the release of the Roswell report in 1947. In this particular case, the FBI personnel have intentionally kept the identity of the individual responsible for writing the memo a secret. However, they have left behind two intriguing clues for us to ponder upon: round robin and the flying roll. These clues serve as breadcrumbs leading us to the revelation that the author of the cautionary advisory is none other than Newton Meade Lane. In 1946, Lane ventured into the realm of publishing by creating The Round Robin, a newsletter that delved into the realm of arcane knowledge, much in the style of the renowned Charles Fort. Due to financial limitations, Lane opted for mimeographing rather than traditional printing methods for distribution. This initial endeavor proved to be just the beginning, as Lane later introduced the flying roll to expand and augment his reach. The concept of multiple universes existing beyond our own has been a long-standing idea throughout human history. It has been understood that our physical senses only provide a limited perception of reality, and there is a greater scope of existence beyond what we can observe. This notion of additional, unobserved universes highlights the underlying belief that the universe we inhabit is just one piece of a larger cosmic puzzle. Lane, in his pursuit to comprehend unidentified objects, sought to relate them to his prior experiences in delving into the realm of the unseen. In his document titled Memo 6751, he explicitly states that the origin of these unidentified flying objects is not the commonly referred to astral plane, but rather corresponds to the metaphysical concepts of locus or talus. He assumes that individuals with a background in esoteric knowledge will grasp the significance of these terms. To put it differently, unidentified objects are classified as vehicles that facilitate traversing between different dimensions of existence. In essence, they enable interdimensional travel, offering a transcendental perspective to the observers. The interdimensional hypothesis, which was initially sparked by Lane's early exploration of an ancient cosmological concept in relation to unidentified objects, underwent a gradual evolution over a span of several decades. During the 1970s, the interdimensional hypothesis emerged as a compelling alternative to the well-accepted extraterrestrial hypothesis. Renowned experts in the field, including Meade Lane, John Keel, J. Allen Hynek, and Jacques Vallée, endorsed this perspective. The interdimensional hypothesis proposes that unidentified flying objects represent a contemporary manifestation of a phenomenon that dates back to ancient times. In earlier eras, this phenomenon was often attributed to mythological or supernatural beings. As we explore the interdimensional hypothesis in greater depth, we find that it suggests unidentified object encounters are not solely restricted to encounters with extraterrestrial life forms. The well-known incident that took place in July 1947 near Roswell, New Mexico, is one that has gone down in history. According to the story, a large unidentified craft made contact with the ground in that area. William Ware MacBrazell, a local rancher, stumbled upon wreckage during the same year, which he believed to be connected to the numerous flying saucer sightings reported at that time. The military responded by sending Major Jesse Marcel to investigate the crash site and retrieve the debris. Initially, a press release was issued, stating that a flying disc had been recovered, but the following day, the official narrative changed, and it was claimed to be nothing more than a weather balloon. However, as time went on, the Air Force revised their account and declared that neither version of the story was accurate. Instead, they asserted that the wreckage was actually a device used for espionage purposes, specifically to spy on the Soviet Union. This incident has since gained notoriety and remains a subject of much debate and speculation. It is fascinating to observe how, paradoxically, the public quickly seemed to forget about the incident after initially expressing curiosity. The incident in question involved the government acknowledging the discovery of a wreckage that was believed to be a flying disc just days prior. However, as more details emerged regarding the wreckage and eyewitnesses began sharing their accounts of what they had witnessed at the scene, a newfound interest began to take shape. Prominent researchers assert that the events that transpired in Roswell hold significant importance within the realm of UFO research. They express surprise at the lack of public demand for answers regarding the nature of what descended on that fateful day. Amateur researchers, on the other hand, contend that military officials cannot be considered oblivious and are capable of differentiating between a UFO and a mere weather balloon. Interestingly, it has been reported that the initial revelation that the discovered object was indeed a UFO caused a sense of panic among the populace, prompting the military to backtrack on their initial statements. However, over the course of the past few decades, former employees who were stationed at the crash site and privy to insider information have gracefully come forward to share their testimonies. The in-depth exploration of this incident, considering both the government's initial admission and subsequent retractions, as well as the ongoing revelations provided by those present at the crash site, offer an enriching perspective on the events in Roswell. This comprehensive analysis aims to shed light on the substance of this significant occurrence and stimulate further inquiry. Matilda O'Donnell McElroy, a highly experienced senior master sergeant in the Women's Air Force, had a remarkable and captivating encounter with a humanoid being. It is documented that she had an extraordinary interaction with an entity known as Elle, who not only shared their name, but also divulged the origins of their existence, along with the purpose of their visit to our planet Earth. During this incredible encounter, Elle provided Matilda O'Donnell McElroy with enlightening insights into their origin and the reasons behind their presence on Earth. During the time of this encounter, Matilda, who was a mere 23 years old, recounted a fascinating tale of her ability to establish communication with a humanoid entity through the extraordinary power of telepathy. This entity, known as Elle, was the subject of Matilda's interview, wherein she revealed striking differences between herself and this otherworldly being. Matilda noted that while she possessed a biological existence, Elle, in contrast, did not share this characteristic. Nevertheless, Elle did possess a female appearance, akin to that of a child in stature. The circumstances surrounding their initial connection were quite extraordinary, as it occurred following a crash where 3 individuals were aboard a vessel, tragically leaving Matilda as the sole survivor. This profoundly intriguing account sheds light on the enigmatic nature of Matilda's encounter with the extraordinary being named Elle. Matilda's report aligns with the experiences shared by numerous abductees, highlighting an intriguing discovery. According to her, the physical composition of the beings she encountered exhibited stark dissimilarities from that of humans, appearing to be constructed out of a synthetic material rather than biological components. Extensive research conducted incidents involving mysterious aircrafts reveals consistent testimonies describing these alleged aliens as displaying robotic characteristics, prompting comparisons to functioning machines. Some people who have had close encounters with these objects have vividly described their observations of these beings, noting their mechanical-like behavior devoid of usual human traits. These accounts mention their lack of blinking, peculiar movements, and an absence of any discernible emotional responses, reinforcing their perception of encountering highly advanced robots. Such revelations offer an intriguing glimpse into the nature of these encounters and raise compelling questions about the potential existence of technologically advanced extraterrestrial life forms. In a subsequent interview for a book, Matilda O'Donnell McElroy offered her own speculation regarding the object's composition, suggesting that it may have been constructed using the same material as the advanced being itself. Intriguingly, she also proposed that both the object and the being possessed the ability to be controlled through the power of the mind. Despite her extensive interaction with Elle, Matilda noted a certain level of secrecy, as Elle seemed reluctant to divulge too much information on certain matters. This air of caution led Matilda to infer that Elle harbored a lack of trust toward military officials. Such realization served as a sobering warning to the nurse, prompting her to contemplate the unsettling notion that if aliens themselves were skeptical of humans, it didn't bode well for the reputation and trustworthiness of our own species. Expanding further, when questioned about her origins, Elle asserted that her civilization hailed from an ancient lineage that harbored immense power and influence. Intriguingly, their overarching objective remained focused on progression and advancement. Thus, it became increasingly apparent that Elle's presence on Earth was not a mere coincidence, but rather a purposeful mission undertaken by a formidable and forward-thinking civilization. In a letter penned by McElroy, the author delves into profound inquiries that demand the attention of humanity. These thought-provoking questions, which reside within these very documents, encompass the essence of our existence. Who are we as a species? What is the origin of our being? What purpose do we serve on this planet? In contemplating the existence of intelligent life beyond Earth, the author raises an important question. Why haven't they made contact with us? The letter urgently emphasizes the need for people to comprehend the dire consequences that could unfold, both physically and spiritually, if we fail to take decisive action to undo the enduring and far-reaching effects of extraterrestrial interference on our planet. It is worth noting that this particular story has a connection to an anecdote provided by Glenn Dennis, a mortician. According to Dennis, who worked as a nurse at the Roswell Army Airfield, she personally witnessed medical professionals examining beings that bore resemblance to humans but displayed distinct features such as elongated, slender arms and large, hairless heads. Dennis further disclosed that there were specific requests for caskets designed for children during the same period of time, which raises intriguing questions regarding the nature and origins of these unusual creatures. The inclusion of Glenn Dennis's account adds a compelling layer of detail to the larger Roswell incident narrative, shedding more light on the events and potentially expanding our understanding of what may have transpired. The television program UFO Hunters conducted an interview with Earl Fulford, an individual who was present at the crash site and participated in the cleanup operation. Earl, being one of the few surviving witnesses, shared intriguing details about the incident. He described the recovered material as remarkably lightweight, capable of springing back to its original form when compressed. During the show, the team presented various materials for comparison, including everyday foil and mylar foil. However, Earl immediately recognized that these materials did not match what he had retrieved from the crash site. He emphasized that the material he handled was virtually weightless and possessed a unique property of returning to its original shape, no matter how much it was manipulated. Earl expressed that he had never encountered anything like it before. Unbeknownst to Earl, the UFO hunters team managed to recreate a material based on his description. When given the replicated material, Earl proclaimed that it closely resembled what he had encountered. He said the following: "This one feels more like the material. We could squeeze it and it would pop back. The thickness and weight are similar. It gives me chills down my spine." End quote. This revelation added an intriguing dimension to the investigation, shedding light on the extraordinary characteristics of the crashed object's material. When considering the Roswell incident, a significant number of individuals currently hold the belief that there is a considerable amount of undisclosed information surrounding this event. The mysterious Winchester landing incident. During the mid-1970s, a series of UFO landings and subsequent encounters with mysterious beings occurred in Winchester, a city located in the southern region of England. Although not as widely recognized today, these events captured national attention at the time. Furthermore, multiple witnesses came forward with corroborating accounts of the initial sighting, indicating that whatever was observed along a peaceful road in Hampshire had tangible existence. This intriguing phenomenon, which unfolded in Winchester amidst media coverage, continues to fascinate and raise questions about the existence of advanced life. One aspect that adds to the intrigue is the fact that after the initial encounter, Joyce Bowles, the primary witness, experienced numerous subsequent encounters. These encounters consistently involved her being taken aboard an otherworldly vehicle, where she had interactions with peculiar humanoid beings. While there may be skeptics, even within the UFO community, these subsequent encounters contain noteworthy details that often mirror those found in other cases of close encounters. Thus, it becomes evident that Bowles' experiences warrant further examination and consideration as they contribute to our understanding of these phenomena in a comprehensive and unbiased manner. Even though these sightings remain unresolved and continue to baffle researchers and enthusiasts in the field of UFO phenomena, they remain a subject of great fascination. As a result, they are periodically revisited in the hopes of unearthing new insights, additional information, or even potential witnesses that could shed light on the matter. The individuals involved in this event were Joyce Bowles, a 42-year-old woman, and her neighbour Ted Pratt, a 60-year-old individual. At approximately 9 in the evening, they were in a vehicle en route to the nearby village of Chilcombe. While journeying down the road, the group noticed an unusual orange glow suspended in the sky, seemingly floating at a relatively low height above a field situated by the roadside. As they proceeded on their way, their line of sight became momentarily obstructed due to hedges and trees, momentarily obscuring the light from view. However, it swiftly reappeared as they advanced further along the road. This captivating phenomenon held their attention, evoking a sense of curiosity and intrigue. During their journey, they veered off the main road and took a left turn onto a serene and peaceful country lane known as King's Lane. Due to the narrower road, Joyce decided to reduce her driving speed to a range of 20 to 25 miles per hour. Unexpectedly, without any prior indication, the car suddenly veered to the right, and at the same time, the engine revved up autonomously. This peculiar occurrence was accompanied by a palpable sensation of density in the surrounding atmosphere, as if an enigmatic force was exerting pressure upon them. The unexplained heaviness added an eerie element to their experience, leaving them perplexed, yet intrigued. As Joyce glanced out of the window, her eyes landed upon the sight of their vehicle now positioned along a grass verge. However, her concern deepened as she found herself grappling with a significant challenge in maintaining control over the moving vehicle. Within moments, a looming forest became a visible threat, rapidly approaching their path. Recognizing the urgency of the situation, Ted swiftly reached for the steering wheel, aiming to support Joyce in her desperate efforts to steer clear of the imminent collision with the trees. Suddenly, the car abruptly halted, coming to an unexpected stop against an object that Ted described as an invisible barrier. Interestingly, this mysterious barrier seemed to possess a subtle flexibility, bending ever so slightly before completely halting their progress. After regaining their composure, Joyce and Ted directed their focus towards the windshield. To their astonishment, a cylindrical object suspended itself both in front of them and slightly ahead. What made it even more extraordinary was the discernible presence of a cockpit-like region where three humanoid figures, or at the very least their heads and shoulders, could be seen. As they observed the figures through the windows, they could distinctly remember that the figures seemed to be arranged in a manner resembling passengers sitting on a bus, with one figure positioned directly behind the other. Additionally, their recollection highlighted the fact that the craft was hovering only slightly above the ground, with an unusual mist-like substance visible beneath it. Adding to this, Ted vividly recalled the sight of what appeared to be 4 jets emitting gases, providing support to the hovering craft. These detailed observations paint a comprehensive picture of the scene, allowing us to delve deeper into the intricacies of the encounter. According to the recollections of Joyce, one of the individuals mentioned in the story stepped away from the object and proceeded to walk towards their vehicle. Coinciding with this, a peculiar whistling sound similar to that of a kettle began to resonate in the air. As the figure drew nearer, Joyce could discern that they were clad in what appeared to be a silver-blue boiler suit, which extended all the way up to their neck. Interestingly, Ted recalled that this attire seemed to shimmer as if it were being gently shaken by an invisible wind. Furthermore, both witnesses were unable to recall any buttons or seams adorning the clothing worn by the figure, adding to the mystery surrounding their appearance. To their growing astonishment, much to their sudden realization, the presence materialized seemingly out of nowhere, astonishingly finding itself positioned right beside the driver's side of the vehicle. A penetrating gaze from the enigmatic entity pierced into their space, as if it had effortlessly emerged into existence. In appearance, this peculiar being exhibited strikingly human-like features, with the exception of its mesmerizingly vibrant pink eyes. Joyce, with a keen eye for details, attempted to gauge the figure's physical attributes, approximating a towering height of approximately 6 feet, adorned with cascading locks of lustrous blonde hair and a luxuriant beard adorning its countenance. As Joyce directed her gaze towards the man, she instinctively glanced over her shoulder, catching sight of the hovering craft. To her surprise, 3 distinct figures stood aboard the vessel, their gazes fixated on the unfolding scene. Shifting her focus back to the man, she couldn't help but notice the unsettling expression etched upon his face. Curiously enough, Ted would later recount his contrasting experience, wherein he found himself overwhelmed by a sense of peace and tranquility upon glimpsing the very same face. The stark dichotomy between their emotional responses adds an intriguing layer of complexity to this encounter. The human-like figure persistently observed the individuals inside, subsequently shifting focus to the control panel before proceeding to the rear portion of the automobile. This behavior demonstrated a keen interest in the occupants, as well as a deliberate engagement with the vehicle's operations. As Joyce observed, the unidentified figure began to move in the vicinity of the vehicle, creating the impression that Ted intended to exit the car, thus prompting her to lean over and intervene to prevent him from doing so. It was during this momentary lapse that she involuntarily closed her eyes. However, as soon as she reopened them, she was taken aback to discover that both the hovering object and the enigmatic figure had inexplicably vanished from sight. This unexpected turn of events left her bewildered and curious about the mysterious circumstances surrounding their sudden disappearance. After a short pause to collect their thoughts, the 2 witnesses, Joyce and her companion, prepared to continue their journey. Joyce turned the ignition key, engaged the car's first gear, and eagerly attempted to move forward. However, much like the perplexing force that had halted their vehicle earlier, an intangible obstruction prevented the car from budging an inch. Frustrated but determined, Joyce decided to switch off the engine, hoping that this would somehow alleviate the unseen resistance. To her relief, when she once again started the car, it effortlessly began to move forward, free from any hindrance or impediment. Upon their return, precisely at 9:25 in the evening, Joyce wasted no time in recounting the peculiar encounter to her husband. In response, he took it upon himself to reach out to the local BBC station in order to inquire if any other similar incidents had been reported. This conversation eventually led to both him and Joyce being invited to appear on the BBC's news show the following day, where they would have the opportunity to share their extraordinary experience. Subsequently, their story garnered significant attention, and they were invited to make an appearance on BBC National News, ensuring that their extraordinary encounter reached a wider audience. In the realm of strange occurrences, this particular episode was merely the inaugural event in a subsequent sequence of peculiar happenings. Furthermore, the consequences of this encounter materialized several days later, manifesting as an unconventional skin eruption on the posterior region of Joyce's cranium and shoulder. Delving into the intricacies of this inexplicable phenomenon, we begin to comprehend the profound implications it carries, as the enigmatic rash leaves us with more questions than answers. A matter of even greater concern arose when she found herself on the receiving end of an unsettling phone call from an individual who identified themselves as a representative of the government. This mysterious caller, in a direct and forceful manner, warned her against discussing the encounter she had experienced. Astonishingly, this warning was reiterated when the same person made another call to her shortly thereafter. Adding to the peculiarity of the situation, her telephone line remained engaged for several weeks following the encounter, persisting even after she hung up the receiver multiple times, an action that should have disconnected any ongoing call. In defiance of the cautionary words she received, Joyce ultimately chose to disregard the warning and proceeded to share the details of her extraordinary encounter with the local and national media outlets, opening up about her experience to a wider audience. The incident mentioned in the text caught the attention of not only Joyce and Ted, but also the Daily Mail newspaper, who went on to conduct their own thorough investigation. In their pursuit of the truth, they managed to uncover several other witnesses from the same area who claimed to have observed the exact same object that Joyce and Ted had described. As the story unfolded, the subsequent encounters took an even more bizarre and enigmatic turn, captivating not only the locals, but also gaining national attention. The unfolding events surrounding Joyce's experience became a matter of great curiosity and intrigue, with the story spreading throughout the entire nation. Approximately 6 weeks later, specifically at approximately 6:30 in the evening of December 30th, 1976, Joyce and Ted embarked on the very same journey they had undertaken that fateful November night. Remarkably, not only did they once again encounter an eerily similar unidentified flying object, but to their astonishment, they abruptly found themselves being transported aboard it, accompanied by the enigmatic beings they had previously observed. Shortly after, a brief span of time passed, and both individuals perceived a distinct whistling sound, the very same auditory manifestation they had observed during their prior encounter in November. Once again, the vehicle commenced trembling and vibrating with an eerie sensation, as though an external force or presence was exerting control or manipulation over it. Subsequently, their consciousness seemed to fade into oblivion, and when they regained awareness, they found themselves standing outside the car. However, to their bewilderment, they were not on the familiar road, but instead located within the confines of an enigmatic and unconventional chamber. As they surveyed their surroundings, they unanimously concluded that they were situated inside an exceedingly peculiar and baffling craft. This unforeseen turn of events left them perplexed and seeking answers to the inexplicable circumstances they now found themselves in. When the group entered the room, they found themselves accompanied by 3 humanoid beings who were unmistakably the same individuals they had encountered previously. These figures were dressed identically as before, but upon closer inspection, Joyce noticed that they were also wearing sparkling silver boots. As she drew nearer, Joyce couldn't help but notice that the fabric of their clothing resembled tin foil. It shimmered and reflected light in a similar manner. One interesting aspect caught her attention inside the room they were situated in, which has also been observed in previous cases, involving individuals claiming to have encountered UFOs. Specifically, she observed a peculiar feature at the center of the room, a significant bottle-like structure that emerged from the floor. This structure exhibited a wide base, gradually narrowing as it reached the top. Additionally, it was adorned with peculiar black and yellow rings. Although she was unable to fathom the purpose of this structure, other witnesses have reported similar details and suggested that it served as a vital component of the craft's propulsion system. This intriguing observation adds to the growing body of evidence regarding the consistent nature of these unusual encounters. The human-like creatures engaged in conversation with the duo, employing a limited knowledge of English but effectively communicating their intentions. They assured the pair that they harbored no ill intentions and sought to alleviate any fears or concerns. During their encounter, the couple was exposed to a wide array of technological devices and even had the opportunity to examine star charts. However, their recollections of the entire incident were vague and incomplete, leaving them with only fuzzy memories. They vaguely remembered being escorted back to their car, but when they regained consciousness, they found themselves on an unfamiliar road. Interestingly, despite the unusual circumstances, Joyce experienced a sense of tranquility, while Ted couldn't shake a distinct feeling of unease. It seemed as though there was something foreboding that his memory was refusing to recall. Delving into the details, we discover that the couple's encounter was not limited to just a casual observation of futuristic gadgets and celestial maps. The intensity of the experience was such that the timeline of events became hazy, and their minds struggled to hold on to every detail. Gradually, their consciousness returned to their surroundings. In the month of May 1977, approximately 5 months after the previous incident, Joyce unexpectedly found herself embarking on yet another extraordinary encounter. Just like before, Joyce was behind the wheel, accompanied by her dear friend, Anne Strickland. And as fate would have it, they were about to witness something truly remarkable once again. In the distance, there appeared an awe-inspiring cigar-shaped object, emitting a magnificent and radiant glow. This extraordinary event left them in awe and wonder, as they couldn't help but ponder the significance of such an encounter. Joyce halted the vehicle, causing it to come to a complete stop, while the two women observed with anticipation as the unidentified craft gracefully descended from the sky. Their eyes locked onto the sight, as one of the humanoid forms emerged from the vessel and promptly made its way towards them. As the approaching figure closed in on their position, it stretched out its arms in a gesture of openness and goodwill. At this juncture, a wave of intense fear overwhelmed the two women, surpassing anything they had ever experienced before. However, their apprehension was soon disrupted as the enigmatic being started communicating with them using the English language, albeit in a rather fragmented manner. After this intriguing exchange of information, the enigmatic figure turned around and made their way back to the spacecraft from which they had emerged. To everyone's astonishment, the craft then slowly ascended into the sky, eventually vanishing from sight. Joyce found herself in the midst of yet another otherworldly encounter, approximately a month later, during the month of June. Once again, she was accompanied by her neighbour Ted Pratt while on a drive. Interestingly, this encounter followed a similar pattern to the previous two incidents, as both Joyce and Ted appeared to have undergone what can only be described as encountering an otherworldly entity. According to Ted's account, they found themselves once again in the presence of the cigar-shaped spacecraft. Much to their surprise, the humanoid figures, clad in what seemed to be dull metallic suits, were also present. In a scene reminiscent of their previous encounter, there was a peculiar exchange of communication and information between the humans and the enigmatic beings. It was during this interaction that one of the figures conveyed warnings, shedding light on various wars and the detrimental impact of humanity's actions on the planet. Deeply concerned about these pressing issues, the humanoid figures reluctantly bid farewell and retreated back into their extraordinary craft. This encounter not only reiterated the existence of the mysterious cigar-shaped craft, but also imparted crucial insights into the consequences of human behavior on a global scale. After this particular event took place, the sightings abruptly ceased. However, subsequent investigations would shed light on some intriguing revelations pertaining to Joyce. It was discovered that over the course of several years, she had also encountered numerous instances characterized by poltergeist-like phenomena. What is particularly noteworthy in this case is the correlation often observed between individuals who claim encountering mysterious beings and their experiences with the paranormal, particularly incidents reminiscent of poltergeist activity. This connection suggests a deeper relationship between alien encounters and the paranormal realm, which may be more substantial than many of us realize. A fascinating aspect worth exploring is Joyce's revelation about her encounters with peculiar psychic manifestations and incidents of poltergeist-like activity that have occurred since her early childhood. It is intriguing to note that various objects and ornaments would frequently move on their own, a phenomenon witnessed by multiple members of her family. Moreover, Joyce frequently shared sightings of a mysterious white-robed lady, a figure that other family members also claimed to have seen, albeit without being able to discern any specific features. This suggests a recurring and captivating presence that has intrigued Joyce and her family throughout their lives. In the years preceding her encounters in late 1976 and early 1977, an intriguing and unsettling series of events occurred around the protagonist. This series of events, which dates back to 1972, involved her witnessing several apparitions or ghosts within her own home. The experiences were so alarming that she sought help from the local church, specifically requesting 2 exorcisms to be performed. This additional information sheds light on the depth and complexity of the protagonist's paranormal encounters, offering a comprehensive understanding of the events leading up to the main storyline. During an interview with a BBC reporter, she would vividly recount a haunting encounter in her bedroom where she witnessed the presence of a lady who bore a striking resemblance to a nun. In the days and nights preceding the initial UFO sighting in November 1976, Joyce vividly remembered encountering an enigmatic and elusive shadowy figure positioned at the top of her staircase. Initially, she didn't give much thought to this peculiar occurrence, but in the aftermath of a series of subsequent encounters with unidentified flying objects, she began to speculate if this mysterious figure could potentially be one of the advanced beings associated with the spacecraft. This introspection prompted her to delve deeper into the puzzling nature of her experiences, searching for connections and meaning between the figure and the otherworldly phenomena she had witnessed. During their investigation, the authorities discovered multiple additional sightings that occurred in close proximity to the initial encounter in November 1976. Notably, Mr. and Mrs. Haynes came forward with their own account, asserting that they had observed an individual dressed in a silver outfit near one of the nearby hypermarkets, located approximately 7 miles away from Joyce and Ted's incident. This additional testimony adds further credibility to the overall phenomenon, shedding light on the widespread nature of these sightings during that particular period. Several additional individuals also claimed to have observed similar phenomena, although they did not directly see the occupant who supposedly caused it. Sandra Wheeler, for instance, asserted that she witnessed a luminous orange object hovering in the vicinity of Horton Heath. Similarly, Maureen Lovely reported having observed a remarkably similar object for approximately 20 minutes while in Winchester. Furthermore, Mr. and Mrs. Boise from Alresford reported an additional sighting from a relatively close location, describing the presence of 2 suns stationed above their heads. These accounts corroborate the existence of the unidentified object and further enhance the credibility of the initial report. In addition to the nearby sightings mentioned earlier, there were also reports from individuals who were farther away from the initial location. One significant incident occurred when Mrs. Atkinson was travelling from Portsmouth to Swindon with several passengers. During their journey, they observed an unusual object hovering above them, adorned with numerous luminous lights. This extraordinary sighting left a lasting impression on the witnesses. Furthermore, on the day before Joyce's initial encounter, specifically on the evening of November 14th in Southampton, Mr. Baker had his own remarkable experience. As he was en route to a friend's house, at approximately 7 in the evening, he noticed a massive orange disc traversing the sky. While the initial encounter seems highly credible, especially considering the plethora of other witnesses that investigators eventually uncovered, the subsequent encounters took on a more extravagant and fantastical nature. It is worth noting that many of the more outlandish claims regarding interactions with extraterrestrial beings, which have ultimately been proven to be hoaxes or fabrications, often stem from a genuine initial encounter. While the initial encounter presents compelling evidence, further exploration reveals subsequent events that appear to be more sensational and far-fetched. In the realm of extraterrestrial encounters, it is not uncommon to come across instances where genuine experiences serve as a foundation for subsequent falsehoods or exaggerations. Nevertheless, numerous investigators at that time also reached the consensus that there was hardly any motivation for these witnesses to invent such a narrative. This lack of incentive stemmed primarily from the fear of public humiliation and mockery that each witness would inevitably face, especially in light of the subsequent disclosures and revelations. It has also been observed that there may be a correlation between the psychic elements and energies attributed to Joyce Bowles and the UFO sightings she experienced. In fact, over the past few decades in the 2000s, numerous researchers have proposed a link between unidentified objects and various aspects of the paranormal realm. From this perspective, if we acknowledge the validity of Joyce Bowles' testimonies, these encounters could hold significant significance. The exploration of this connection further delves into the depths of the paranormal, expanding our understanding and enriching our knowledge in this field. If we direct our attention towards the findings put forth by Jenny Randles, she would draw our focus to various similarities observed in another incident that unfolded several months later in Nelson, Lancashire. One of the most noteworthy resemblances was the accounts of witnesses experiencing a peculiar pressing force while the unidentified object remained within their sight, accompanied by the impact it had on the vehicle itself. Nevertheless, there were other notable parallels, including the similar shape of the object itself, as well as the presence of red and orange lights. By delving deeper into Randall's research, we can unravel a multitude of intriguing connections between these two incidents, shedding light on the broader implications and potential explanations behind these extraordinary events. 2008 marked a momentous occasion in the history of UFO sightings. Over a small Turkish village, a series of extraordinary events unfolded that would captivate the world's attention. The UFO sighting began when dozens of residents in the small village observed a series of strange lights and an object hovering in the night sky. Witnesses described the object as disc-shaped, with bright lights that seemed to pulse and change colors. The UFO hovered silently for hours, defying the laws of physics and leaving the villagers in a state of awe and disbelief. Turkey has a long and rich history of unexplained aerial phenomena dating back centuries, but between 2007 and 2009 in the northwest region of the country, a series of unusual events took place. Multiple strange objects were observed over the sea and witnessed by local residents. During that time, an important video was taken of something unidentified, hovering in the sky at the same location. Numerous residents from the local area have recounted their encounters with unidentified flying objects that displayed disc and oval shapes in the sky. These aerial objects had a distinct metallic appearance and demonstrated silent maneuvers, occasionally accompanied by peculiar red and orange lights. The witnesses comprised a mix of individuals residing in the nearby housing complex and intrigued onlookers, including fishermen. Fascinatingly, in 2009, following a UFO conference held close to Istanbul, Roger Lehr and a group of 7 to 8 people personally experienced a sighting. Under the luminous glow of a bright moon, they witnessed a mysterious disc-shaped object lingering in the heavens. Notably, Roger Lehr himself observed Yeltsin capturing video footage of this anomalous object in the sky. Prior to his demise, he was interviewed multiple times regarding this remarkable event, further establishing the credibility and significance of the incident. Reports were filed with the Sirius UFO and Space Science Research Group, which is Turkey's primary UFO reporting organization, run by Haktan Akdogan. Also, the videos were analyzed by the Scientific and Technology Research Board of Turkey and TUG National Observatory, which are both sponsored by the state and highly influential. They reviewed the originals with the goal of finding evidence of a forgery, but interestingly came away with results that actually supported the authenticity instead. The original film cassettes have also been studied by people from the United States, the United Kingdom, Japan, Chile, and Brazil. After several attempts so far, nobody has been able to successfully demonstrate evidence of a hoax, fraud, or manipulation, leaving the case as an unsolved mystery. The previous year, between May 22nd and September 28th, a series of unusual aerial phenomena were witnessed and documented in the vicinity of Yeni Kent facility on the shore of Kumburgaz. Yeltsin, who was working the night shift at the facility, had a privileged vantage point, which allowed him to witness these sightings. As word spread, the local residents became increasingly intrigued, resulting in a growing number of people taking notice. The 2008 sightings, reminiscent of those in 2007, received significant attention in the Turkish national media, including news networks from the United States. This, in turn, sparked the interest of the Turkish scientific and astronomy community, who took the initiative to thoroughly analyze the captured footage. The following day, a mesmerizing sphere of glowing orange and red plasma-like light hovers effortlessly in the sky, appearing motionless for an extended period of time. Its radiant brilliance casts a vibrant reflection upon the calm surface of the water, creating a breathtaking visual spectacle that captivates the onlookers. Just 4 days after the initial sighting, another distinct orange glowing object is witnessed. Shortly thereafter, a peculiar craft, depicted in the image provided below, is captured on film. Interestingly, there seems to be a potential horizontal movement that results in a noticeable shift of light and shadow across the entirety of the structure. This observation raises intriguing questions regarding the nature and behavior of these unidentified aerial phenomena. Upon reviewing the unedited video footage, it is evident that there is a distinctive elongated anomaly that remains stationary just above the surface of the water. Yalcin, the person responsible for capturing the footage, skillfully utilized the zoom function on the camera, allowing for multiple close-ups and wide shots. As of right now, one theory that's been put forward is that this object is part of a cruise ship. However, when looking into the object location within the sky, along with ships' logs and records, it shows that nothing was in that area during the time of these sightings. In the following analysis, a thorough examination has been conducted, revealing multiple factors that cast doubt on the validity of the cruise ship theory. The moon as a reference point is often used by astronomers to estimate the angular elevation of objects in the night sky, such as airplanes, helicopters, and celestial objects. The standard rule is, the angular diameter of the moon is about 0.5 degrees, or 2 moon widths would be 1 degree. During the 17th of May, the segment of the moon and the unknown object are filmed in the same frame for several minutes. This can be used to see how far the object was above the horizon. It could theoretically decide if it was too high in altitude, or, if the object was on the horizon, it could support the cruise ship theory. When filming both the moon and an object in conjunction, this particular scenario provides a valuable opportunity to estimate the angular elevation of the object above the horizon. The Turkey UFO case website used Stellarium, a highly popular planetarium software among astronomers, and this allows users to observe celestial alignments of stars and planets from any location on Earth, either in the present or the past. In this specific case, they inputted the precise coordinates of the camera's position on May 17, 2009. Analysis of the footage reveals that at 6 minutes past 3, the moon appeared approximately 12.3 degrees above the horizon when observed from the camera's location. This information, captured in detail, provides a comprehensive understanding of the specific celestial positioning during that precise moment in time and space. According to a widely accepted astronomy principle, it is established that when the diameter of 2 moons is combined, it measures up to 1 degree. This fundamental rule serves as a valuable tool for measuring celestial objects and phenomena. Examining the given scenario below, it becomes evident that the unidentified object captured in the video was positioned approximately 7.9 degrees above the horizon. This information not only highlights the significance of the astronomy rule, but also underscores its practical application in analyzing celestial observations. According to Alcyoni's assertion, if a ship is situated far beyond the Earth's curvature, it would give the illusion of being significantly lower on the horizon compared to its actual position. Once the measurements have been established, we can now proceed to visualize the appearance of the unidentified object at that specific moment. It is important to note that based on the data, the object's position relative to the horizon suggests that it is highly unlikely to be a cruise ship or yacht. According to Alcyoni's claims, the object in question was the bridge of a cruise ship, but it is highly unlikely due to its proximity to the shore and shallow waters. The measurements suggest that the unidentified object was positioned too high above the surface, contradicting Alcyoni's theory. This discrepancy challenges the validity of Alcyoni's claim and raises doubts about the accuracy of their assessment. Examining the scenario more deeply, it becomes evident that the object's height could not be attributed to a cruise ship's bridge, as it would be too high in the sky. The designated marina utilized for accommodating cruise ships that visit is known as the Port of Karakoy. However, it is worth noting that this marina is situated in the Bosphorus Strait, which unfortunately cannot be visually observed from the specific location of the observer. The automatic identification system is a globally employed automated tracking system utilized by vessel traffic services to electronically exchange ship data, with the purpose of identifying and locating ships. This system operates through automatic identification system transponders, which are equipped with a VHF radio that transmits the position of ships periodically. The ship's GPS provides accurate information regarding the ship's location and velocity. With its comprehensive coverage and in-depth analysis, the automatic identification system plays a crucial role in enriching maritime operations by enhancing the understanding of vessel movements and facilitating effective traffic management. The following is a comprehensive and in-depth compilation of automatic identification system vessel traffic reports for the Sea of Marmara on May 13th and May 15th, 2009. These reports provide detailed information about each vessel, including its call sign, date, and time of observation, latitude and longitude coordinates, as well as the wind speed at the time of observation. In the event that a cruise ship or yacht happened to be present at the specified sighting location, it is imperative that it be included in the list. In the Bosphorus Strait, a number of vessels could be observed, with a few situated in the Black Sea while others positioned outside the camera's range to the west or east. It is important to note that no evidence suggests the presence of a cruise ship or yacht within the camera's coverage at that particular moment. This comprehensive and in-depth analysis enriches our understanding of the maritime activity in the area and highlights the absence of certain types of vessels in the vicinity captured by the camera. Upon careful examination, it has been determined that at precisely 3:59 in the morning on the 13th of May, 2009, no conclusive evidence exists to substantiate the presence of either a cruise ship or a yacht within the visual range of the camera. In addition, it should be noted that during the time the footage was captured, there were no other vessels, such as tankers, fishing boats, or bulk carriers, within sight or in the immediate vicinity. In the country of Turkey, there have been no reports or accounts from residents who claim to have witnessed the presence of a cruise ship or yacht in the area. Considering the extensive media coverage surrounding this issue in Turkey, it is surprising that no one has stepped forward to confirm the existence of a cruise ship in the area. According to Turkish researchers and Yalçın Yalman's statements, it has been determined that the videos captured on July 30th, 2007, August 31st, 2008, and May 14th, 2009 were not recorded near the sea, but rather on land. This finding holds value as it sheds light on the location where these intriguing sightings took place. Interestingly, on the 14th of May 2009, this peculiar event occurred in front of a sizable gathering of individuals attending a conference situated miles away from any oceanic vicinity. By carefully examining these videos captured over land, we are presented with compelling evidence that challenges the notion of a cruise ship being involved in these occurrences. This means that the conventional assumption of these sightings being connected to maritime activities can be discounted. The original footage captured a remarkable phenomenon, a luminous ball of light that gradually transformed into a dome-shaped craft. The recording took place in a condominium owned by Yalçın's father, situated several blocks away from the waterfront. It is worth noting that the condominium is situated at a significant distance from the sea, adding to the intrigue and mystery surrounding the sighting. Upon careful examination, the luminous ball of light exhibited a mesmerizing transformation. Throughout the course of history, there have been numerous instances where orange luminous spheres have been frequently observed in conjunction with unidentified flying objects. Despite ongoing investigations, the exact reasons behind their presence continue to elude us. In the case of Yalçın's film, which has garnered attention, it is intriguing to note that it comprises multiple sequences showcasing these captivating light orbs. Notably, these luminous phenomena appear either during, just before, or immediately after the sightings of other unidentified objects, thus bolstering the curiosity surrounding their existence. Furthermore, eyewitness testimonies recounting the presence of these enigmatic orange balls strongly support their reality. Considering various straightforward aspects, it becomes highly improbable for these peculiar orange light balls to be attributed to the presence of a cruise ship. The factors contributing to this improbability are multifaceted and undeniable. During the period of heightened UFO sightings in 2008, specifically on June 9th, Yeltsin and several other individuals had the remarkable opportunity to witness an extraordinary occurrence. The occurrence of the orange light phenomenon typically occurred at the same specific location, either during, shortly before, or right after the presence or movement of other objects. This observation suggests a notable correlation between the orange light occurrence and the neighboring objects. During the extraordinary wave that occurred in 2008, local residents reported regular sightings of unidentified objects. One particularly notable incident took place on July 4, 2008, when an unexplained light was captured on film from 5:20 in the morning to 5:53. It is important to consider various visual factors that strongly indicate a cruise ship or yacht is highly unlikely to be the cause of this phenomenon. Firstly, the unexplained light appeared to be positioned significantly above the horizon, making it implausible for it to be originating from a boat. In the early hours of the same day, specifically at 2:43 in the morning, an intriguing phenomenon occurred above the vast expanse of the sea. This peculiar event involved the appearance of a circular or disc-shaped object, captivating the attention of those who were fortunate enough to witness it. During the events of July 4, 2008, an interesting observation was made as both sequences were recorded in the exact same location. This intriguing coincidence raises the possibility that the object being filmed in both instances could potentially be one and the same. In recent interviews, Yeltsin Yalman has expressed that the segment of July 30, 2007 was captured from the open-air balcony of his father's condominium, which is located a few blocks away from the Yeni Kent facility situated on the beautiful beaches of Kumburgaz. On that occasion, Yalman initially observed a peculiar anomaly in the form of a dome appearing in the far distance. Initially, the videos underwent a meticulous examination, supervised by Haktan Akdogan, a distinguished Turkish researcher and the director of the Sirius UFO and Space Science Research Center. Haktan diligently interviewed each witness independently and subsequently proceeded with a thorough analysis of the videos. Collaborating with the esteemed members of their science board, they employed advanced techniques to magnify the images, meticulously scrutinized every pixel, and meticulously examined each frame in intricate detail. This comprehensive endeavor aimed to ensure a comprehensive understanding and in-depth analysis of the videos, enriching the overall investigation. Haktan Akdogan said the following: "After doing all the necessary analysis, which went on for several weeks, the board came to a definite conclusion with no doubt that these are 100% genuine videos. The objects cited in the aforementioned footage that have a structure that is made of specific material are definitely not made up by any kind of computer animation, nor are they any form of special effects used for simulation in a studio or for a video effect. Therefore, in conclusion, it was decided that the sightings were neither a mock-up or hoax. And it is concluded that these objects in the sightings that have physical and material structures do not belong in any category such as planes, helicopters, meteors, Venus, Mars, satellites, fireballs, Chinese lantern, fireballs, weather balloons, natural or atmospheric phenomenon, but rather fall into the category of UFOs." End quote. Given that the most remarkable aspects of the case revolve around the alleged presence of extraterrestrial beings in the recorded footage, the focus of observation primarily centered on the central area of the unidentified object. According to the witness, this is where he claimed to have seen someone, which has been interpreted as the presence of occupants or a crew. In a summary, the information gathered from the case suggests that a door or window of some sort could be located in the center of the object. At times, this opening appears to remain unclosed, providing a glimpse of two distinct heads, which are assumed to belong to the elusive extraterrestrial occupants. In a more comprehensive analysis, it is worth noting that these findings emphasize the significance of the central region of the unidentified object. It is believed that this area serves as a point of entry or exit, allowing for potential observations or interactions with the occupants. The uncovered details from this case shed light on the intriguing nature of the encounter, expanding our understanding of the phenomenon. The sequence depicts with commendable clarity the specific moment in which one of the figures, exhibiting what appears to be humanoid characteristics, lifts its gaze and fixates its gaze directly ahead for a fleeting interval of time. The visual presentation reveals the presence of a distinct head structure with two relatively large and dark eyes. Furthermore, upon closer examination, it is conceivable to discern a fragment of the figure's body, perhaps a small torso, in relation to the aforementioned head. In this particular image, the application of only one level filter was employed to enhance the brightness of the scene. By utilizing this technique, the objective was to maximize the extraction of data that could potentially be captured by the camera, all the while preserving the overall quality of the image. As of right now, the Turkey UFO incident is still heavily debated. Ship records show that no cruise ship was in the area during these sightings, and after zooming in on the footage, there's many that believe they can see humanoid entities within the aircraft. To this day, the Turkey incident remains a mystery. The International Space Station orbits the Earth, serving as a beacon of scientific exploration and international collaboration. However, alongside its remarkable achievements, the International Space Station has also become the focal point of intriguing reports and recordings of unidentified objects. Recently, some interesting photographs have been shared around social media, showing what appears to be two medium-sized black cubes flying past one of the International Space Station's cameras. As the live feed camera transmitted images of the Earth and surrounding space, a user online noticed two small, dark objects in the distance. They said that its shape and movements deviated from the expected patterns of space debris or known satellites. Intrigued, they started to take some screenshots in the hopes of better understanding what it was that they witnessed. They said that the objects were in the shape of a cube, saying that it maneuvered gracefully through the vast emptiness of space. The user said that it flew past the camera within a matter of seconds and displayed agility and speed beyond the capabilities of any known human-made spacecraft. With the mysterious object captivating their attention, they knew that they were witnessing something strange, and so quickly grabbed some screenshots. They said that the object's flight patterns and advanced maneuvers challenged conventional understanding, raising questions about its technological capabilities and potential nature. After sharing the photographs online, some suggested that the small black objects were advanced reconnaissance probes from an advanced civilization observing humanity's activities from afar. Others theorized that it could be a result of a top-secret military experiment, pushing the boundaries of aerospace technology. Regardless of the explanations, the sighting opened up a world of possibilities and triggered discussions about the existence of intelligent life beyond Earth. However, despite numerous attempts at trying to explain what these objects were, they remained a mystery. Interestingly, those who saw the photographs said that this isn't the first time that these objects have been captured on the International Space Station's live cameras, and said that over the years, a variety of strange objects have been captured. Although NASA and other space agencies have said that these objects are nothing of interest and can normally be explained as things like space debris and camera glitches, this hasn't stopped users from investigating further, noting that every so often these objects can be seen during the live streams. Whether these two small black objects were an otherworldly visitor, a product of advanced human technology, or something else entirely, its presence has left many unanswered questions, and as humanity continues its voyage of discovery, the enigmatic encounter serves as a constant reminder that the universe is full of surprises, waiting to be discovered. As mentioned, numerous recordings from the International Space Station have captured objects appearing in the frame, exhibiting unconventional flight patterns and unexplained characteristics. Eyewitness accounts and footage reveal sightings of spherical, cylindrical or disc-shaped objects maneuvering near the space station. These objects often exhibit high speeds, abrupt changes in direction, and anomalous behavior that cannot be easily explained by known space debris or natural phenomena. Several explanations have been proposed to account for the mysterious objects caught near the International Space Station. One possibility is the presence of space debris or satellites, which can occasionally pass by the station. However, the distinct flight patterns and behaviors observed in some cases defy the characteristics of typical space debris or known satellite movements. Another explanation involves misidentifications or lens flares caused by light reflections or internal optics within the cameras. Such optical phenomena can create the illusion of objects or anomalies in the recorded footage. However, the consistency of witness reports and the corroboration between different camera angles challenge the notion that all sightings are mere artifacts. The sightings of these mysterious objects have fueled speculation about potential advanced civilizations. Proponents of this hypothesis argue that the peculiar flight patterns and advanced technology displayed by these objects suggest the presence of intelligent life monitoring our planet or interacting with the space station. While this hypothesis is intriguing, it remains speculative, as definitive proof of advanced activity is yet to be established. The complex nature of this phenomenon requires rigorous scientific investigation and analysis of available evidence to ascertain the true nature of these sightings. The realm of outer space has always been shrouded in mystery, and astronauts, as intrepid explorers, are no strangers to encounters with the unknown. Several astronauts have come forward with accounts of mysterious aircrafts. Those who believe in this phenomenon have said that if you are going to believe anyone, then you should believe those who've actually been to space. Perhaps the most notable is the testimony of Buzz Aldrin, the second person to walk on the moon. Aldrin has stated that he and his fellow Apollo 11 crew members observed a mysterious object during their journey to the moon, describing it as a cylindrical object moving alongside their spacecraft. Similarly, Edgar Mitchell, the sixth person to walk on the moon as part of the Apollo 14 mission, spoke openly about his belief in advanced life and his conviction that mysterious objects have visited Earth. Mitchell claimed that multiple astronauts have witnessed these objects, but the information has been withheld from the public. In addition to these renowned astronauts, other space explorers, including Gordon Cooper and Story Musgrave, have shared their own encounters with unidentified objects during their missions. Their descriptions often include sightings of bright lights, strange formations, or objects exhibiting rapid acceleration and maneuverability. The testimonies of astronauts hold considerable weight due to their extensive training, scientific backgrounds, and credibility within the space exploration community. These individuals are trained observers who have undergone rigorous astronaut selection processes and have extensive knowledge of spacecraft and celestial phenomena. The testimonies of astronauts who claim to have encountered mysterious objects during their space missions provide intriguing insights into the unexplained phenomena that occur beyond our planet. While skeptics offer alternative explanations and caution against misinterpretations, the credibility and training of these astronauts demand careful consideration. The experiences shared by these space explorers encourage scientific inquiry, inspire curiosity, and challenge our understanding of the universe. As we continue to explore the cosmos, further research and investigation into these encounters will shed light on the nature of these objects and potentially reshape our understanding of our place in the universe. Analysis has determined that the objects retrieved are of exotic origin, non-human intelligence, whether extraterrestrial or unknown origin, based on the vehicle morphologies and material science testing. This is the most recent comment from a defense intelligence whistleblower. For those interested in this topic, the last 6 years have been full of ups and downs in the United States. Leslie Kean and Ralph Blumenthal, who were part of the team that broke the 2017 story, have published a new report that may give hope to those who believe in the existence of advanced beings. According to the report, a defense intelligence whistleblower has claimed that the intelligence community is keeping classified evidence of non-human origin craft that are both fully and partially intact. According to a complaint filed by whistleblower David Charles Grush, the Pentagon, along with other countries and defense contractors, have obtained fragments from unidentified sources that have unique atomic and radiological signatures. Grush also alleges that these fragments have been subjected to material science testing, and based on the morphology of the vehicles containing the fragments, it is suggested that the intelligence behind these materials may not be of human origin. He further claims that these materials include both fully and partially intact vehicles. Grush, an Afghanistan combat veteran, served in the Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force. This program, managed by the Office of Naval Intelligence, investigates sightings of mysterious aircrafts. As the representative of the National Reconnaissance Office, a top-rated US intelligence agency, Grush participated in the task force from 2019 to 2021. Despite a previous expert in the government being discredited, Grush's evidence are highly regarded by his colleagues. Carl Nell, a retired Army colonel who also worked on the task force, described Grush as beyond reproach. Additionally, Grush explained in a claim that other nations are currently competing to identify UFO crashes and landings, along with the materials that are currently being used for exploitation and reverse engineering. According to Nell, a knowledgeable intelligence source, there has been a hidden competition on Earth for the last 80 years to reverse engineer unknown technologies, and this assertion is accurate. Nell also believes that some of these mysterious technologies may come from non-human extraterrestrial intelligence. Another intelligence official, Jonathan Gray, investigating mysterious aircrafts, agrees that there is a genuine non-human intelligence phenomenon, indicating that humans are not alone in the universe. Gray points out that the mysterious aircraft phenomenon is widespread and persistent, but we have not been able to find a global solution to it yet. The unclassified complaint disclosed to the debrief alleges that the intelligence community deliberately concealed evidence of extraterrestrial technology from congressional oversight, thus hindering its efficacy. Gregory Grush, the whistleblower who raised these concerns, reportedly faced months of retaliation as a result. To protect the integrity of the ongoing investigation, Grush has not revealed the details of the retaliation. The Pentagon confirmed the report's contents in April, although the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence did not comment. Following his retirement in April, Grush expressed hope that his allegations would trigger an ontological shock. The existence of unidentified objects and their alleged crashes has long intrigued both the general public and those interested in the unknown. Speculation about the United States government's involvement in such incidents has given rise to numerous claims and controversies. Over the years, several crash incidents have been reported. Proponents of the crashed theory argue that these incidents provide tangible evidence of advanced visitation. Claims of other incidents have further fueled the belief that the United States government possesses these objects and that they are keeping this information away from the general public. One of the reasons for doing this is they don't want to admit that there's something out there much more advanced than us, and the reason for this is because it could cause panic. If there are objects out there that can easily outmaneuver our best jets, then it shows that we could easily be overpowered if things didn't go to plan. However, believers have said that if something bad was going to happen, then it would have happened by now. Supporters of the crashed theory often point to eyewitness accounts, leaked documents, and alleged insider testimonials as evidence of the government's involvement. However, critics argue that the lack of concrete evidence, inconsistencies in testimonies, and the possibility of hoaxes cast doubt on the veracity of these claims. Theories regarding these crashed objects often revolve around government secrecy. As mentioned, the assertion is that the United States government has actively suppressed information to maintain control and prevent public panic. The investigation of unidentified objects by the United States government has a storied history that spans several decades. The United States' interest in mysterious aircrafts can be traced back to the 1940s and 1950s. These initiatives aimed to collect and analyze reports of mysterious aircraft sightings, with the primary focus on national security concerns. Congressional interest and involvement have played a significant role in shaping the United States' approach to investigations. Several lawmakers have pushed for increased transparency and funding to study these aerial phenomena. In December 2020, the Intelligence Authorization Act for fiscal year 2021 included a provision mandating the preparation of an unclassified report on mysterious aircrafts. In addition to government agencies, the scientific community has become increasingly engaged in the study of these objects. Renowned organizations like the Scientific Coalition for UAP Studies and the privately funded To the Stars Academy have worked to bridge the gap between scientific inquiry and public interest, fostering collaboration and the application of rigorous scientific methodologies to investigate these sightings. The United States investigation of mysterious aircrafts has evolved over time, driven by public interest, technological advancements, and national security concerns. From the early military investigations to the contemporary initiatives, the pursuit of understanding these objects continues to capture the attention of government agencies, scientists, and the public, forging a path toward unraveling the mysteries of the unknown skies. It's just been announced that evidence of a possible wormhole has opened up at Skinwalker Ranch. Photographs have been shared by the team who are currently investigating Skinwalker Ranch and its anomalies. For those unaware, the Skinwalker Ranch, which is situated in the Uinta Basin in northeastern Utah, is an intriguing location, enveloped in tales and enigmas. It is commonly referred to as Sherman Ranch, and over the years, various individuals have come forward with strange reports, many of whom have detailed strange wormholes opening up in the sky and noting that they witnessed objects flying through them. This 480-acre property is known for its association with various phenomena such as mysterious aircrafts, strange entity encounters, mysterious livestock explorations, patterns formed in crops, and the presence of skinwalkers. Additionally, the ranch shares a border with the Ute Indian Reservation. The Ute were granted the Winter Valley Reservation in October 1861 through President Abraham Lincoln's executive order. In January 1882, the Uncompahgre Reservation, also known as the Ouray Reservation, was established, and later merged with the Winter Reservation in 1886, resulting in the creation of the Winter and Ouray Reservation. This reservation has served as the home for the Ute for over 150 years, spanning over 4.5 million acres of land. For many years, the indigenous people have spoken about how the neighboring ranch lies on the path of the Skinwalker, and as a result, they have been strictly prohibited from approaching the property. The Skinwalker refers to a malicious creature who can change shape, and the Ute people regard this figure with great reverence. The Ute tribe inhabited regions such as Utah, Colorado, and New Mexico before they relocated to the reservation. They were known for their fierce and warlike nature. In the past, the Ute and Navajo tribes joined forces to resist their shared adversaries. However, when the Ute tribe acquired horses from the Spanish, they started taking Navajo individuals and selling them in markets located in New Mexico. During the Civil War, certain Ute groups joined forces with Kit Carson in a military operation against the Navajo, which resulted in the Navajo being expelled from their territories and compelled to march to the Fort Sumner Reservation in New Mexico, known as the Long Walk of the Navajo. Although the Navajo tribe was eventually allowed to return to their ancestral lands in the Four Corners region, the Ute community held the belief that the Navajo had placed a curse on them for their past offenses. As a consequence, the Ute people started experiencing disturbances caused by the Skinwalkers. The Ute people have a long-standing belief in the existence of Skinwalkers, and these tales have been passed down for over 15 generations. However, they do not hold the belief that Skinwalkers reside on the ranch. Instead, they believe that Skinwalkers seek refuge in a nearby location known as Dark Canyon. Based on reports, Skinwalkers have been frequently observed by the Ute people in the region. These beings have been sighted near the ranch, along the road to Fort Duchesne, and in different parts of the reservation. One description paints them as human-like creatures with dog heads, while others have described them as being more wolf-like. Another account depicts them as big, black, hairy humanoids with remarkable speed. Witnesses have also claimed that these entities possess unusually large and intimidating red eyes. Additionally, there are reports of people encountering and capturing photographs of substantial footprints, believed to be left behind by skinwalkers. The Myers family settled on the ranch in 1905. Initially, there were a few small buildings on the northwest corner of the ranch, located at the base of Skinwalker Ridge. Eventually, the original homestead was deserted, and a new residence was established on the eastern side of the ranch. From the 1930s until 1987, Kenneth John Myers and his wife Edith Myers resided on the property. Although no unusual incidents were reported by the Myers themselves during their time there, Some of their neighbours did have experiences worth noting. During the 1950s, a series of peculiar incidents started happening in the basin. There were multiple accounts of unidentified objects observed above the property, and these sightings persisted for several decades. It is worth noting that this wasn't the initial occurrence of unusual aircraft sightings. The earliest documented mention of such sightings goes back to the late 1700s, when Spanish explorers, who were in search of the Spanish Trail, passed through the basin and reported observing strange crafts hovering above their nightly campfires. The reports of unidentified objects were numerous, with descriptions ranging from fireballs to aircraft of different sizes and shapes, including round, oval, cigar-shaped and triangular. Some of these objects were enveloped in a green glow, while others emitted red beams or displayed colored lights from underneath. The influx of calls became so overwhelming for the Utah Highway Patrol that by the 1970s, reports were no longer filed. Additionally, local ranchers also reported unusual instances of cattle expirations during the same period. Joseph Hicks, a retired science teacher hailing from Roosevelt, Utah, delved into over 400 reported sightings in the basin and uncovered an intriguing correlation between these sightings and instances of cattle expirations. Throughout his research, Hicks documented numerous accounts from eyewitnesses who claimed to have observed living beings inside these objects through the windows or portholes. In 1994, Terry and Gwen Sherman became the new owners of the ranch that had been left vacant by the Myers since 1987. They were taken aback to discover deadbolt locks on every door and window, both inside and outside the house. The kitchen cabinets were not spared either, as they also had bolts on them. Additionally, iron stakes and heavy chains were found at both ends of the house, presumably used by the previous occupants for their large guard dogs. The Shermans, accompanied by their 2 children and livestock, decided to make this property their new home. On the day the family moved in, they immediately noticed a sizable coyote, or possibly a wolf, in one of their fields. It swiftly advanced towards a pen where their livestock was kept. It proceeded to seize a young calf by its nose and attempted to pull it through the bars of the enclosure. Terry Sherman and his father attempted to free the calf by striking the animal, but their efforts proved to be unsuccessful. When their initial attempt was unsuccessful, Sherman resorted to firing at the animal with a magnum from close range. However, despite being fired at multiple times, the wolf carried on gripping the calf. Eventually, after a few more shots, the animal let go of the calf and calmly stared at the men. Surprisingly, there were no visible signs of injury on the animal. In an attempt to understand what had happened, the men pursued the animal's footprints for approximately a mile before they abruptly ceased, as if the animal had mysteriously vanished. This incident served as a hint of what was yet to come. A couple of weeks later, while Gwen Sherman was driving in her car, she came across a sizable wolf that had its back aligned with the top of her window. There was also a canine-like creature accompanying the wolf, but she couldn't determine its exact species. Throughout the following 2 years, the Shermans and their fellow residents witnessed a variety of unusual creatures within their vicinity. These sightings entailed the presence of vibrant, non-indigenous species, as well as towering, mysterious creatures resembling large humanoids. During an incident, the Shermans witnessed an unusual creature, reminiscent of a hyena, engaging in an attack on one of their horses. The creature was described as having a low stature, substantial muscle mass, weighing around 200 pounds, with red curly fur and a tail. When Mr. Sherman approached the animal, it mysteriously disappeared. Later examination of the horse revealed multiple claw marks on its legs. Several months afterward, a neighboring resident reported seeing a comparable creature dashing across their land. The Shermans, just like their fellow residents, also witnessed unusual luminosities and airborne entities, with over 12 sightings occurring on a single night. It was during these encounters with unidentified objects that they also faced the unfortunate demise or vanishing of 7 of their finest livestock. Out of these, 4 vanished completely, while 3 others were discovered lifeless. 3 of the deceased cows displayed an unusual anomaly, a distinctive void in the middle of the left eyeball, while remaining unscathed otherwise. Another bovine specimen had a comparable aperture in its left eye, accompanied by a significant 6-inch cavity, approximately an inch in depth, carved into part of its body. The final cow subjected to this act had been observed alive merely 5 minutes earlier by the Sherman's son. A particular cow among the missing livestock appeared to have mysteriously vanished from the snowy landscape. Its tracks led into a field, but abruptly ceased. The ground was scattered with snapped twigs and branches, and the tree canopies seemed to have been severed. Throughout this period, a variety of peculiar incidents transpired as well. It was not uncommon for pastures to inexplicably illuminate during the nighttime hours. Furthermore, there were reports of audible sounds resembling the workings of heavy machinery emanating from beneath the ground. Poltergeist-like occurrences, such as objects vanishing only to reappear later, were also observed. Additionally, eerie disembodied voices, frequently communicating in an unfamiliar language, were heard from above. Additionally, peculiar patterns of flattened grass, commonly referred to as crop circles, were discovered on the ranch. In May 1996, Sherman experienced a significant event that served as the breaking point. While outside with his 3 dogs, he noticed a vibrant blue object swiftly moving in the field nearby. Prompted by curiosity, he encouraged his dogs to chase after it. The dogs energetically pursued the object, expressing their excitement through barks, until they disappeared into a dense thicket. Sherman was alarmed when he heard 3 distressing yelps from his pets and realized they were unresponsive to his calls. The following day, when he ventured out to search for them, all he discovered were 3 spherical, greasy masses with evidence of scorching. Unfortunately, the dogs were never found again. After experiencing these frightening incidents for a period of 2 years, the family decided to share their story with the public. The initial reports regarding the bizarre occurrences on the ranch were initially published in the Deseret News in Salt Lake City, Utah, followed by a series of articles by journalist George Knapp in the weekly newspaper Las Vegas Mercury. George Knapp and Colum Kelleher later wrote a book that provides a comprehensive account of previous inquiries conducted in the county area regarding reported sightings, incidents involving missing and expired livestock, sightings of large animals possessing piercing red eyes that were unharmed despite being fired at, unseen objects emitting destructive magnetic fields, formations of crop circles, encounters with creatures resembling Bigfoot, and instances of poltergeist phenomena. The Shermans had intentions to sell the property, but before they could do so, they received an unexpected offer from Robert Bigelow, a wealthy businessman and is the founder of the National Institute for Discovery Science. He became interested in buying the property after learning about the events from a newspaper article. Bigelow acquired the ranch for a sum of $200,000, with the condition that the Shermans would not divulge any further details about the incidents that occurred on the property. Subsequently, he initiated the establishment of a comprehensive facility comprising advanced sensory technology, field investigators with doctorate-level qualifications, scientific experts, and round-the-clock security personnel. A resident in Texas reported seeing a mysterious object in the sky. The eyewitness submitted a report to the Mutual UFO Network, an organization that investigates mysterious aircrafts, and reported that as the sun was setting, they captured some images of patterns that had formed in the clouds. They reported that to ensure the quality of their images, they snapped 3 shots at once. However, upon reviewing the photos, they were unaware of what they had captured, noting that in the background, a strange black object could be seen close to the clouds. They showed the mysterious object to their wife, but both of them couldn't agree on what this object was, further adding that there wasn't anything in the area at the time the image was taken. The resident explained that the absence of trees where he lives means that there are no birds around, and caused him to rule out the possibility that this was an animal. The eyewitness had said that they are looking for an answer as to what this object could be. Interestingly enough, other people came forward and said that they had seen the same thing, and detailed that the object could be seen breaking through the clouds. One resident by the name of Mary Thompson had an extraordinary encounter with an object that looked nearly identical to this one. Mary described that as she was walking her dog, she couldn't help but notice the sky above. High above, amidst the backdrop of the fading daylight, she spotted an unusual object moving through the sky. It was a large black object, silently gliding across the horizon. Mary watched the enigmatic craft, captivated by its otherworldly presence. She stood there in awe, unable to comprehend what she was witnessing, noting that the object didn't match anything that she had seen before. The mysterious black object defied all conventional understanding, and she detailed that it moved with such grace and precision. Mary's mind raced with questions, trying to rationalize the inexplicable sight before her eyes. She detailed that she tried to take a photograph of the mysterious object, but noted that her phone's camera wasn't up to the task, and the resulting images were too blurry to make out anything. As Mary continued to watch the mysterious craft, a sense of excitement and curiosity overwhelmed her. After seeing these photographs, she reported that it reminded her of the object that she had seen, and said that the black object she witnessed was the same shape as this one. She also detailed that the object appeared to be rotating. The topic of mysterious aircrafts above Texas has captivated the public's imagination for decades, leading to a surge in reported sightings and encounters, and causing eyewitnesses to come forward with their encounters. While the nature and origin of these unidentified objects above Texas remain a subject of debate, the number of reported sightings in the United States is quite substantial, and has led to researchers into the unknown to say that these sightings and encounters should be taken more seriously. The United States, with its vast territory and diverse population, has been a hotspot for unidentified sightings. Over the years, numerous individuals from all walks of life have come forward to share their experiences, ranging from strange lights in the sky to encounters with mysterious craft. And interestingly, due to the amount of encounters that have been reported, it's led to astronauts and military personnel to come forward with their sightings, which many have said adds credibility to these claims. The exact number of reported sightings in the United States varies from year to year. Organizations that research these aircrafts have provided valuable data for analysis and investigation. According to available records, thousands of sightings are reported in the United States annually, and in some years, the numbers reach into the tens of thousands, indicating a significant interest and ongoing fascination with the phenomenon. It is important to note that not all reported sightings can be classified as genuine encounters. Many sightings turn out to have conventional explanations, such as misidentified aircraft, weather phenomena, or even hoaxes. However, a significant percentage of cases remain unexplained, leaving room for speculation and further investigation. Some of the most commonly reported sightings include objects exhibiting unusual flight patterns, high speeds, or abrupt changes in direction. Witnesses often describe seeing bright lights, saucer-shaped craft, or triangular formations in the sky. Some reports even describe close encounters with beings or entities associated with these unidentified objects. The Lone Star State of Texas, with its vast landscapes and diverse population, has been a hotspot for sightings and encounters. Over the years, numerous reports have emerged from various regions, captivating the imagination of residents and sparking curiosity among enthusiasts. One of the most famous incidents in Texas occurred in 1957 in the small town of Levelland. Multiple witnesses reported seeing a large, egg-shaped object with bright lights that allegedly caused their vehicles to stall or malfunction. The incident gained significant media attention, drawing the interest of researchers and investigators from around the country. In addition to the Levelland incident, Texas has been the site of numerous other reported sightings. Witnesses have described a wide range of phenomena, including sightings of disc-shaped objects, triangular craft, and mysterious lights in the night sky. Over the years, numerous residents reported seeing a massive, silent object with flashing lights moving at high speeds. The incident gained national attention and prompted investigations by both local authorities and researchers. Reports of sightings in Texas often involve witnesses from different backgrounds, including military personnel, law enforcement officers, and everyday citizens. Many sightings occur in rural areas where the night sky is free from light pollution, allowing for clearer observations of unusual aerial phenomena. The Gulf Coast region of Texas has also seen its fair share of sightings. The proximity to the Gulf of Mexico and the area's extensive waterways have led to reports of unidentified objects emerging from or descending into the water. Witnesses have described bright lights or strange craft performing unusual maneuvers in the sky before disappearing without a trace. The advent of modern technology and the widespread use of smartphones have made it easier than ever for individuals to document and share their sightings. Photos and videos captured by eyewitnesses can provide valuable visual evidence, although their authenticity and reliability must be carefully evaluated. While the number of reported sightings is significant, it is important to consider that not all sightings are reported. Many witnesses choose not to come forward due to fear of ridicule or skepticism. Therefore, the actual number of encounters may be much higher than the reported figures. Tom DeLonge has transitioned from the world of music to an entirely different domain, investigating unidentified objects. DeLonge's fascination with unidentified objects and the possibility of advanced life began in his childhood. But it wasn't until he left music in 2015 that he began to devote his full attention to this interest. He co-founded To the Stars Academy of Arts and Science, a research group committed to exploring the outer edges of science and unexplained phenomena. To the Stars Academy of Arts and Science has made significant strides in unidentified object research, largely through the acquisition and public release of military footage of mysterious encounters. This footage has played a critical role in reinvigorating public discussion about unidentified aircrafts and pushing for more transparency from government agencies. Notably, some of the footage released by To the Stars Academy of Arts and Science has been officially confirmed by the Pentagon as depicting unexplained aerial phenomena. A few hours ago, Tom came forward and said that advanced beings that have allegedly been witnessed by people are real, but noted that they come from time, hinting that they could be time travelers. Interestingly, this isn't the first time that this theory has been put forward. One particularly captivating concept is the idea that unidentified objects may be time machines, vessels from our future navigating the currents of time. The concept of time travel has long been a staple of science fiction, but it also has roots in established physics. The general theory of relativity, formulated by Albert Einstein, allows for the possibility of warped space-time structures known as wormholes, which could theoretically enable faster-than-light travel or even journeys through time.